Good morning. Prime Minister Davis says ambulances are on the way to the Family Islands. A new stem cell research lab opening in the country. And a nomination hearing for possible new Bahamian ambassador, U.S. ambassador to the Bahamas. Set for today. It's all straight ahead this morning. I'm Dwight Strachan, and this is Morning Blend.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day. It's the start of a new way. Don't you know that it's the start of the end of the old way. Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day.
Good morning again, Bahamas. It is Tuesday, September 11th, 2025. This is Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96. Thursday, September 11th, 2025. This is Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. Again, I'm Dwight Strachan. In a moment, Laverne Gardner will be joining us. Also this morning, we're talking with the Water and Sewage Corporation. They've got a meter campaign that is expected to go a long way in quelling some landlord-tenant disputes. And later, we are talking about abortions in the Bahamas in light of that, a dismissal of a case against a doctor accused of performing an abortion on a teenage alleged rape victim. We'll get into that controversy today. That's all ahead. But first, it's time for the overnight, the latest breaking news from while we're sleeping, and the top national and international headlines this morning. In the overnight, the distressing story of a Long Island cancer patient who had to be transported to the airport for a medical evacuation flight on a flatbed truck in the rain, prompting promises of change from both Prime Minister Philip Davis and Minister of Health and Wellness, Dr. Michael Darville. Davis speaking last night at the grand opening of the Cell Collab and the Live Well Family Health Center's Stem Cell Research and Regenerative Therapeutic Clinic in Sandyport, saying his government recognizes the need to be able to guarantee equity and health care, saying it should not matter if you are in Nassau, Inagua, Mayaguana, Exuma, or Cat Island. Every Bahamian deserves a chance at care. Reports that 62-year-old Brenda Wells, who was diagnosed earlier this year with multiple myeloma, had to be placed on a wooden board on the back of a flatbed truck on Monday to get to Devon's Key Airport, even though 2 ambulances are on the island, continues to spark outrage. A lack of trained professionals to operate the ambulance was cited as the reason that the ambulance has been parked at Davis Sims Clinic, where Wells was seen by the doctor. Prime Minister Davis urging and pledging that the government is taking concrete steps to address challenges like this. Meanwhile, Dr. Michael Darville telling the National Guardian last night that although the practice of transporting Family Island patients in private vehicles is not new, it is unacceptable, saying, quote, "It hurt my heart, and I feel for the family, and I feel for the patients that have to go through it." Darville says he's made a commitment to provide emergency medical ground transportation services on the Family Islands. He says a second cohort is now in training, which is scheduled to be completed in November. He also said that 15 ambulances designed to be low maintenance and secured through the IDB will be sent to the Family Islands once the manpower resources to operate them have been secured. A 31-year-old man denied allegations that he forced 2 young children to have sex during a police interview. The Supreme Court jury hearing This yesterday, Inspector Jewel Gray was testifying in the cruelty to children trial of Denis Szalien. Prosecutors allege that in 2021, while babysitting an 8-year-old girl and her 7-year-old male cousin, he showed them porn videos on his phone and had them have sex with each other. The alleged cruelty came to light after the boy simulated a sexual act on another student while at school, prompting a teacher to inquire where he had seen such behavior. The girl's grandmother and the boy's mother later made complaints to the police. Szalien, who is on remand, has denied the allegations at his trial before Justice Janine Weich Gomez. The inspector testifying that on October 15, 2021, she interviewed Szalien concerning the allegations. She said he denied showing the children porn and forcing them to get naked and have sex with each other. According to Szalien, he was never left alone with the children, who were related to one of his friends. The jury was shown a video of Szalien's interview with the inspector. The trial continues on September 17th. And the Court of Appeal branding a civil trial in the Supreme Court as a colossal waste of judicial time as it overturned a judge's order that an attorney repay $70,000 loan to the estate of her former parents-in-law. In 2014, Stephen Surratt Sr. and his wife Bessie Surratt sued their former daughter-in-law, Sonia Timothy Surratt, after they alleged she had breached an agreement to repay the money in 2 years. However, the Court of Appeal found that there was no evidence of a loan and quashed the decision of Senior Justice Cheryl Grant Thompson. The bid to recover the money coming 1 year after Timothy Surratt divorced Stephen Surratt Jr. in 2013 on the grounds of cruelty. The Surratts and their son have since died. And former NFL player Herschel Walker will take part in a nomination hearing in hopes of becoming the next U.S. ambassador to the Bahamas today. In December 2024, U.S. President Donald Trump named Walker, who unsuccessfully ran for a Georgia Senate seat in 2022, as his pick for U.S. ambassador to the Bahamas. At the time of the nomination, Trump described Walker as a successful businessman, philanthropist, former Heisman Trophy winner, NFL great, and a tireless advocate for young people. If he is confirmed by the Senate, Walker would be the first U.S. ambassador to the Bahamas since Nicole Avant left in 2011. Overseas, Israel's attack on Hamas's top leaders as they weighed a new ceasefire proposal in Qatar was the latest in a string of shocking and unprecedented measures it has taken to vanquish the militant group. Hamas says its top leaders survived Tuesday's strike, but it has offered no proof and has been tight-lipped after past assassinations. Qatar's prime minister says Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu killed any hope of releasing hostages still held in Gaza after Israel's attack in Doha. The comments from Sheikh Mohammed bin Abdulrahman Al Thani ahead of appearing at the United Nations today, underscoring the wider anger among Gulf Arab countries over Israel's strike that killed at least 6 people. Sheikh Mohammed saying that, quote, "I think that what Netanyahu has done yesterday, he just killed any hope for those hostages." His remarks come as thousands of Palestinians continue to flee Gaza City ahead of Israel's impending offensive there. The numbers leaving the city have grown in recent days, though many have refused because they say they no longer have the strength or money to relocate. Polish Prime Minister Donald Tusk pledging today to push ahead with a great modernization program for his country's military, a day after Russian drones crossed into Poland and amplified international tensions around Russia's invasion of Ukraine and what the Kremlin's future territorial ambitions might be. European officials described Wednesday's incursion, which occurred during a wave of recent unrelenting Russian strikes on Ukraine, as a deliberate provocation, forcing the NATO alliance to confront a potential threat in its airspace for the first time. It's deepening long-standing fears that the 3-year war between Poland's neighbors could precipitate a wider conflict. U.S.-led efforts to steer Moscow and Kyiv toward a peace settlement have so far failed to get traction. In sports, the Bahamas Lawn Tennis Association elections are scheduled for Saturday at the BLTA's National Tennis Center, but amidst recent claims of a lack of transparency and due process from its members, the Ministry of Youth, Sports and Culture has intervened and called for postponement of those elections. In a letter addressed to current BLTA President Perry Newton, the ministry is urging the association to consider postponing the upcoming elections until matters regarding membership issues and upholding a recent Court of Appeal judgment are adequately resolved. That letter, issued on September 9th, acknowledges recent concerns about membership eligibility and the fairness of the upcoming elections. And Bahamian surfers giving it their best shot, but were ultimately eliminated from competition at the 2025 ISA International Surfing Association's World Surfing Games in El Salvador. Team Bahamas, represented by first-timer Lily Wagner and Abaconians Joey Gale and Luke Prosa. The trio each had a chance at redemption in their respective repechage rounds, but came up short in their bids to advance in the competition. And the NBA will not rush to any judgment in its probe of whether a business relationship between Kawhi Leonard and a California company was legitimate or merely a way for the Los Angeles Clippers to circumvent salary cap rules. That's according to Commissioner Adam Silver. Silver is speaking after a Board of Governors meeting in New York Wednesday when the Clippers owner Steve Ballmer attended, saying that the league will wait to see the report from the outside firm it's hired to run its investigation before taking its next steps. The NBA opened its investigation last week into whether a $28 million endorsement contract between Leonard and sustainability services company Aspiration Fund Advisor LLC broke league rules following a report by journalist Pablo Torre. Aspiration Fund Advisor filed for bankruptcy earlier this year. The Clippers have strongly denied that any rules were broken and said they welcomed the league's investigation. That's sports, and that's the overnight. Time for your first look at weather. In your weather for today, brought to you by Star General. We've got prefrontal troughing and tropical moisture ahead of a slow-moving frontal boundary near South Florida. That's going to trigger pockets of showers and thunderstorms across the northern and portions of the northwest Bahamas today through tonight. Elsewhere, weak high pressure and strong daytime heating will support a typical summertime pattern with light to gentle winds and afternoon showers and thunderstorms. So that boundary, though, is going to enter the northern Bahamas by Friday as a weak cold front, then gradually stall across northwest Bahamas by Saturday, and as a result, cloudy conditions along with elevated chances for scattered showers and thunderstorms expected throughout the weekend for the northern, northwest Bahamas and even portions of the central Bahamas. So if you have any plans this weekend, you might need to keep them indoors. So there's also a marginal threat of isolated, strong to possible severe thunderstorms across the northern and northwest Bahamas today. Storms have the potential to produce strong, gusty winds, dangerous, heavy lightning, heavy downpours, frequent lightning, and possible waterspout and tornadic activity. Everyone's being advised to remain hydrated and wear protective clothing, as we're expecting triple-digit heat indices and UV levels in the high to extreme range. That tidal flooding risk still in place for the remainder of the week. And rip currents, there is a moderate risk of rip currents along northern and eastern shorelines in the northern and southeast Bahamas. So your forecast for today for the extreme northern islands, including Grand Bahama, a mix of sun and clouds, becoming partly cloudy tonight, 30 to 50% chance of widely scattered showers and isolated thunderstorms. Wind south to southwest at 10 knots, falling light and variable at times. For the northwest Bahamas, including New Providence, partly sunny with a few cloudy intervals today, becoming partly cloudy tonight, a 20 to 30% chance of isolated showers and thunderstorms. Wind southeast to south at 10 knots, falling light and variable at times. For the central and southeast Bahamas, partly sunny, becoming mostly fair tonight, about a 10 to 20% chance of showers with slight chance of afternoon thunderstorms. Winds east to southeast at 10 knots or less, falling light and variable at times. High temperatures today. Highs around 92 Fahrenheit, 33 Celsius. But the heat index will make it feel like it's 106 Fahrenheit, 41 Celsius. Overnight lows now getting down about 81, 82 even Fahrenheit, 27, 28 Celsius. Still in the thick of summer. That's your morning blend weather check, brought to you by Star General Insurance, made simple.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day. It's the start of a new
It is time for a break, but when we come back, we're discussing the day's top stories right here on Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9, your home for fresh news and smart talk all day.
day. Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, wake up.
It's the glitziest night in agriculture, where roots run deep and the spotlight shines bright. The Agrarian Awards 2025 takes center stage on Saturday, October 18th at the Atlantis Paradise Island Grand Ballroom. And you need to be there. Presented by the Ministry of Agriculture and Marine Resources and the Agricultural Development Organization. Get your tickets now at adobahamas.org or call 397-7400 for more information. The Agrarian Awards 2025, planting with heart and soil.
This October, Bahama invites you to indulge your senses at the Culinary and Arts Festival, where world-class flavors meet breathtaking creativity in the heart of the Bahamas. Join us October 22nd through 26th for an unforgettable celebration featuring culinary legends Marcus Samuelson, Dario Zucchini, Simeon Hall Jr., and Scott Conant, alongside a vibrant lineup of chefs and mixologists. Explore captivating art installations, interactive workshops, and live performances, all set against the stunning backdrop of Nassau's premier luxury resort. From curated tasting events to beachfront feasts and immersive gallery experiences, this is more than a festival. It's a feast for the soul. Tickets and packages are going fast. Visit bahamar.com to reserve your spot at the Culinary and Arts Festival at Bahamar, where taste and talent take center stage.
Tired of banks forcing you to use technology to bank the way they want you to? Your convenience is important. So no matter what your banking needs, Commonwealth Bank's friendly staff are always available in branch for that personal one-on-one service. But when you choose technology, our online and mobile banking app offers you state-of-the-art functionality. The choice is yours. Commonwealth Bank. Bank the way you want.
Screws and Fasteners World, Balfour Avenue and Palm Beach Street, has those hard-to-find fasteners for you right now. You can find stainless steel regular hex, carriage bolts, galvanized bolts, threaded rods, nails, self-tap screws, sex bolts, anchor bolts, turnbuckles, masonry tools, hand tools, and weed whacker strings. Check out the rope selection and car body fasteners too. Special orders are welcome. It's your #1 fastener store. Screws and Fasteners World, Balfour Avenue and Palm Beach Streets. Call 326-1976.
Nothing beats a Chickchani Challenge. On September 27th, we're bringing the action, a 5K course packed with 20 thrilling obstacles. Start and finish at Fusion Superplex with energy, fun and excitement all around. First time? No problem. Try the Chickchani Light version, built just for beginners. Got kids? Ages 3 to 7 can take on their very own Chickchani Kids Challenge. And this year, we're turning 10. So grab your team, mark your calendar, and come celebrate with us. Visit chickchanichallenge.com to sign up today. Thanks to our sponsors Fusion Superplex, Guardian Radio 96.9, Kalina, RBC, Advantage Insurance, Party Pilots Rentals and Events, Fincastle Media Group, Powerade, Click, and Art of Graphics.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day. It's the start of a new way. Don't you know?
Welcome back to Morning Blend here on Guardian Radio 96.9. We are streaming live on GuardianTalkRadio.com and on the Guardian Radio app. The app is back up on your smart devices, also on your televisions, on Cable Bahamas, Channel 969, and BTC Flow, Channel 612. You can tweet us at MorningBlend969 or Facebook.com/MorningBlend969. Text us on the Guardian Radio text line, powered by BTC 422-4796. Standard text rates apply. Once again, I'm Dwight Strachan. Joining me now, Laverne Gardner. Laverne Gardner, good morning.
Good morning, Dwight. Good morning to our listeners.
Great to have you with us. Hope all is well.
All is well. How's everything with you?
Pretty good.
Wonderful.
All right, so we got a lot to talk about this morning. We're going to be talking with Water and Sewage Corporation. They've got a meter campaign, and they say this is likely to help landlords and tenants with disputes about who owes what to Water and Sewage Corporation and bring some peace to the land. So we'll get to that with them. Okay. And then later, we talked briefly about this early in the week, but we want to get a little bit deeper into it. The dismissal of a case against a doctor who was accused of performing an abortion on a teenage alleged rape victim. And just talking about this in general, abortions in the country, which are illegal for the most part, and whether that should be across the board, whether we need some rules, whether we should continue to keep it this way, all of that this morning. Equality Bahamas is going to be joining us for that discussion. That's coming up. But right now, let's get into what else is in the news. And in the news, the big headline in the NASA Guardian today, Prime Minister, we will send ambulances and EMTs to the Family Islands. This is in response to what we talked about yesterday, that very sad and disturbing story of the Long Island woman who had to be rushed on the back of a flatbed truck to the airport for an emergency evacuation to get to the hospital here in Nassau. No ambulance. Well, ambulances were parked up. No driver, no qualified EMTs were told, able to drive the vehicles. And that just was a problem there. So this is what the Prime Minister is saying. Our Rachel Scott writing about this. The distressing story of a Long Island cancer patient who had to be transported to the airport for a medical evacuation flight on a truck bed in the rain, prompting promises of change from both Prime Minister Philip Davis and Minister of Health and Wellness Dr. Michael Darville yesterday. Davis says that his government recognizes the need to be able to guarantee equity in health care. He said, quote, "It should not matter if you are in Nassau, Inagua, Mayaguana, Exuma, or Cat Island. Every Bahamian deserves the same chance at care." So reports of that 62-year-old woman, Brenda Wells, who was diagnosed earlier this year with multiple myeloma, had to be placed on a wooden board, because there was no gurney, on the back of a flatbed truck Monday afternoon to get to Deadman's Key Airport, even though 2 ambulances are on Long Island, has sparked outrage. A lack of trained professionals to operate the ambulance was cited as the reason that the ambulance, which was parked at David Sims Clinic, where Wells was seen by a doctor, that's why they couldn't be used. Now, the Prime Minister yesterday pledged that the government is taking concrete steps to address challenges like this. He said, quote, I am advised that an ambulance procured for Long Island will be sent because no Bahamian should be carried in the back of a truck when their life is in danger. He also noted that EMS personnel are being trained, saying, quote, an ambulance without a trained team is just a vehicle. It is training and the teamwork that saves lives. Well, that incident involving Wells was the latest to bring to the surface long-standing concerns over the quality of health care on the Family Islands, where residents, in the case of emergencies, rely on medical evacuation flights to get them to a hospital in New Providence for urgent attention. Now, the Prime Minister, who grew up on Cat Island, says that the road to improved health care across the Bahamas is a long one and that the work cannot be finished overnight, but he's insisting that the effort is underway. He said, quote, I grew up on Cat Island. I know what it feels like to wait for help that might not come. That is why I cannot stop until every Bahamian, no matter where they live, has access to the care they deserve. He said, quote, healthcare is not just another service. It is a moral commitment. A nation cannot be strong if its people are sick. A family cannot thrive if medical bills bankrupt them. And no child should grow up wondering if survival depends on where they live. Darville telling the Nassau Guardian last night, this is the health minister, that the practice of transporting Family Island patients in private vehicles is not new, but that it is unacceptable. He said, quote, it hurt my heart, and I feel for the family, and I feel for the patients that have to go through it. Nothing that is an experience. He noted that this is an experience he once lived as a physician in Bimini, having to transport patients to the airport on truck beds. He said, quote, I feel the pain of patients on our far-flung islands, and we are taking the necessary steps to make sure that whatever services exist on New Providence and Grand Bahama should be extended across the archipelago to all Bahamians. He says that he's made a commitment to provide emergency medical ground transportation services on the Family Islands, and he remains steadfast in it despite setbacks. He said, quote, one of my major setbacks was at PHA Academy, the Public Hospitals Authority Academy. We brought in about 16 EMT specialists for training, and out of the 16, only 2 received their license, which actually put the program back. Wow. Darville says a second cohort is now in training, which is scheduled to be completed in November. He noted that 15 ambulances designed to be low maintenance and secured through an Inter-American Development Bank loan, IDB, will be sent to the Family Islands once the manpower resources to operate them have been secured, saying, quote, I hope and pray that we have a better success rate with the pass rate for the licensing, and once that happens, we would have the manpower to deploy to the families. Okay, let's get your reaction to that. Yeah, that's disturbing to hear the health minister and with the EMTs, but some interesting language from the Prime Minister. What's your reaction?
What language was interesting to you?
Well, the fact that he grew up there and he's not going to rest until every Bahamian has his access, and this part especially because this is going on as we speak. A family cannot thrive if medical bills bankrupt them, and no child should grow up wondering if survival depends on where they live. Okay. Yeah, well, that's true. It's terrible, but where's the evidence that we're making any progress in this? Let's talk about it. 323-6232, 325-4316, 325-4259. Call us toll free, 242-300-5720. Tweet us, Facebook us, text us, 422-4796. You look back at how long ago these stories emanate from, right?
Right.
Prime Minister talking about
That's
growing
why.
up on Cat Island. And
That's
Darville,
why it's not. That's why I was
right?
curious about what was interesting to you, because this isn't anything.
This wasn't
new.
last
This
year.
isn't a new occurrence. This isn't last year. This was in the year before.
Decades.
Taking people who need medical attention on the back of trucks is commonplace in Family Islands. This is what you do, right? So this isn't a new thing. Like, we're clutching our pearls. This is and this is always the case.
No,
When
no, no.
something
I don't know.
terrible happens,
Now, who's clutching the
when
pearls?
something
I think it's only the politicians because,
right, that's what I'm
Yeah,
saying.
right.
That's what I mean. I
Okay.
don't mean the general public.
Right. Mm-hmm.
When something bad happens, something terrible happens, and it becomes public and everybody's talking about it, and then there's pictures, and then there's all this attention and all these promises. But this has been in existence for however long, successive governments. And my question is, the two ambulances that are on Long Island, are they private ambulances?
No. No.
They're not private.
No. No.
So why were they there and there were no EMTs? There was no one there. That's like you said a fire truck, but no one knows how to operate it.
Yeah. So
That's crazy to me.
Yep. Yeah.
Even if you had to, I don't know, have your trained EMTs on rotation that I don't know how you would work it out. Who maybe in Grand Bahama, maybe in New Providence, that we need to send you just temporarily until. But you have the ambulances there. You have no one to drive it. What is the point? What is the point? The Prime Minister saying that, he grew up in Cat Island, so he knows. Okay, so does Cat Island have EMT personnel, and do they have ambulances in Cat Island?
Right. And how long ago was Darville in Bimini? Right.
Right. So you're aware of all of these things. You're aware of these things.
Mm-hmm.
But now when photos pop up and people, now everybody is like, oh, this. Dwight.
Yeah. Again,
Listen.
decades long, and it doesn't appear
Right.
that we've made much progress at all.
No. And why not? Why not is the question.
Yeah.
And I don't want any caller to call me and tell me about how under the F didn't have. I'm tired of that. I'm tired of under the F&M they didn't, under the PLP they didn't.
That's why we're saying it's been decades, right?
It's
so
decades.
everybody, and we know we've been doing the flip-flopping thing, so all of them
shame on
deserve
every single,
the blame. All of them.
every single government.
Yeah.
Shame on every single government that it's okay. But then you will go to these family islands, politicians, and you will hype these people up, and you will, oh, we need your vote. And they can't get basic stuff. Shame on all of you. All of you. And family islanders, I need you to remember these things. When people come asking for your vote, when you go to vote, I'm going to need you to remember this.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so let's go to the phone lines and hear what you have to say. Again, 322-323-255-4316, 325-4259, toll free, 242-300-5720. All right, caller, good morning, you're on the air.
Good morning, good morning.
Hi.
Are you able to hear me?
Yes, we can hear you loud and clear.
Good morning, Dwight, and good morning, your guest. And I'm sitting here and I'm listening
Good
to
morning.
your guest, and I'm wondering, basically she said everything that I desired to say this morning. One of the things that concerns me is that we're always reactive. We put leaders in place from after election to election, and our leaders don't seem to. First of all, as a leader, you have to have compassion. And I believe a lot of these individuals that we put in the House of Assembly have no compassion. It's just so sickening when you hear these stories. And I'm happy that Bahamians are finally taking pictures. They're finally putting the information out there. And it's amazing when this information circulates, then our leaders can say that they're doing that and they're doing that. The Prime Minister is talking about ambulances being on their way. Why do we have to get to the state that we're in before something happens that they've been put there to do? It's saddening. And for me, I don't know what else to say, because When you look at so many of the other agencies, it's almost like this country is on the verge of collapse. And our leaders are just doing absolutely nothing. Absolutely nothing. And I know, I know for me, Bahamians are at that point where you can't believe anything these politicians say. You can't believe any leaders say. You have to see the proof. Why is it now that a lady, an elderly lady, someone who would have served this country practically all of her life, why is it now that she has a situation and she has to be put on the back of a truck? My God, I could only imagine the pain and the agony of her family members. Honestly, when are we going to wake up as a nation, and when are Bahamians going to put people in place that do what they say? We go through the same cycle, and all we see with these leaders is the constant, the F&M and the PLP and the F&M. Nobody is taking responsibility. Nobody is being held accountable. Are we going to wait until our whole nation collapses, every governmental agency collapses before we take our heads out the sand and stop relying on these lying politicians who want thing just to get an office? And when they get in office, the only thing they do is enrich themselves. These people have no compassion and no heart. And it's so, Dr. Davel can now say how he apologizes. This isn't his first rodeo as the Minister of Health. He's been there before, and what has he done? The state of our healthcare system is deteriorated. It's sickening.
Okay.
And
I'm not, thank you very much, Carl. I appreciate it. I don't think he was Minister of Health before, but okay. But he was definitely in the cabinet before. Sure. Yeah, we got it. Thank you. Thank you very much. It is distressing. And even before this social media era, we remember many incidences on the Family Islands, and we got the picture. We got the picture.
Yeah.
Very clearly.
I mean, even from cars having to be on runways to help.
And you remember that tragedy?
There are no lights.
Mm-hmm. As the rescue plane came and collided into the vehicles that were there lighting the runway.
Lighting the runway.
On the runway. Just awful. And then, it's like after that, you forget.
Yeah.
And they forget. Yeah. And then, let's do what we were doing before. Let's take another call. Good morning. You're on the air. Are you there? Good morning. Hi, good morning. We can hear you.
Good morning to you guys.
Hi.
So, point of clarification. Were there two ambulances on the island, but no operators? So operators meaning there were no drivers or no EMTs?
This story is still pretty unclear. So we hear there are two. We're hearing there were no keys. It doesn't sound like there were any EMTs. We don't know if there was a driver or not, but there definitely wasn't, and they needed a driver. So who knows what, but in any event, they had to use a flatbed truck. It's disturbing.
Yeah, that is disturbing, very disturbing. So the vehicle, the ambulances are in the north and the south, I'm assuming.
Not sure. Mm-hmm. But of no use to people.
Of no use, that's the bottom line.
Yeah.
Okay,
wow.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot. All right. Another call. Let's take this call. Good morning. You're live on the air. Hi, good morning.
Good morning, Cousin Dwight.
Good morning.
And good morning, Laverne.
Good morning, Grammy boy.
GNN. I GNN this morning because I won't be facetious this morning.
Oh, boy.
I won't be like the little child who teasing the other child and tell you that's good for you all. Good in your pants, you ain't getting no lunch. That's what I want to tell the Bahamian people.
Why do you want to do that?
Because we refuse, like the lady said, to invoke Article 24.1, organize ourselves, come do something about the kaleidoscope, the myriad of problems across this nation. So that's good for you all. I feel sorry for us because we riding in prop jets to Andres and Freeport and Abaco and Exuma and Elutra, and them other people riding in the jets. So y'all ride on the back of trucks. Y'all behemoths. Y'all don't deserve to ride no ambulance. Thanks for taking Nana Boy call.
Oh, boy. Okay. All right. Thanks a lot. We've got a lot of your text messages. Let's get to some of these. This person says the Prime Minister shouldn't get any props for doing the basics of his job because of the press. They are just realizing they need ambulances and drivers. Well, how can there be no key for the ambulance in Long Island? Apparently, several people offered to drive the ambulance but couldn't locate the keys. That's ridiculous. Tell me that's not true. We've heard that one. Yeah, that was in the story yesterday. So many government ministers for decades had roots from Long Island. Why have they not advocated for Long Island or any other islands outside of New Providence? Well, we don't know if
Because
they
they
didn't.
don't
We don't know if they didn't, but very little has happened.
Right.
They might have. Their mouth can say anything, right? They probably say things, but and yet here we are.
And here we are.
Please tell Dwight the Prime Minister's words are shallow and are simply words. Okay, I am very aware. That's what I said. I said it's surprising that he's saying this, and yet here we still are. And it doesn't appear that we're doing much to get out of this. Our politicians have compassion. They have compassion for the... Oh, no. Okay, well. Preach it, Laverne. The flip-flopping will continue and nothing will change. I'll bet $1 million on that. Well, no, let's use that $1 million to buy an ambulance and train some folks. How about that? Mm-hmm. Thank you, Laverne, for articulating everything I was saying while listening to this story. I'm shouting, this is nothing new, so why are they playing the thing? Why are they playing ears? Oh, yeah. It's very important to note that if it wasn't for social media, we would never have heard these horrific stories coming out of our family islands. I'm not sure if that's true. I don't think that's true. But you hear it immediately. You might not have heard it as quickly.
We may not have heard it as quickly, but we would have heard it.
Yeah.
It would have made the rounds via whatever.
That's how we can say we've known these things for years, because we always hear these stories. We always report on these stories. They have been happening for years. But the speed with social media is making it immediate. And so that's great. I don't blame these lost politicians. They care nothing about island people. I blame the island people for electing these lousy people of both parties. It's a shame.
That's what I'm saying, Dwight. We have to, and this is for everyone who is, whether you're voting for the first time or you are a seasoned voter. These are the kinds of issues that we need to remember when we cast our vote. And stop with this blind allegiance. These are the kinds of things that we need to remember as you are on family islands and you are going to vote. Think about whether or not you have access to things that are just common. Do we have fire trucks and firefighters, people trained? Or we as a community had to come together and get volunteers? Do we have ambulances? Are the clinics that are on these islands, are they open? Are they available? Are they equipped?
Yeah.
These are the things that you need to consider.
Absolutely. This texter says, I wish Bahamians would hold people accountable. Can you all just take a minute to think how much we are paying MPs and PMs to play sorry and come up with plans after the fact? Darvel and just know the island struggles. We need an evaluation of these ministers to see what real policy changes they're working on. 4 years in, and now they plan to send ambulances and are playing stunned. But I'll sit by as we hear PLP fanatics play angry while not holding anyone accountable. By the way, it's not just PLP, it's the FNM, had a whole doctor and PM, and has done nothing to improve things significantly.
I'm holding everyone accountable who's ever been in government, and this is the situation.
Yeah.
They are all.
So it's the same texter acknowledging that, yeah. And they're saying equally as pathetic, Darvel was absolutely Minister of Health. Check the Exuma clinics did nothing. Okay. Dwight and Laverne, you all said it correctly. Shame on the Prime Minister and the Minister of Health for saying, from when I was a child, blah, blah, blah. Complete rubbish because the Prime Minister has been the Cat Island for years and he's not made the change to his island, even minuscule, of the things he saw as a child or young adult. Stop the wordplay. That's all governments. Shake my head and suck my teeth. Another one says, I don't like how you... Okay, I didn't hang up. But she was saying the same thing, and then again, the thing about Darville, he was Grand Bahama Minister, remember?
But they're not only
but
that.
she was repeating herself.
So many.
I wasn't cutting her off.
Time.
Yeah,
right.
the show is going to end soon.
Get the point.
Yeah, come on now. We appreciate her call. Call back. We love it. This person says the reality is that the level of health care by PMH and government clinics is very much still inadequate, with shortages of medication and doctors to attend to patients quickly. How can every island have top-notch level of health care with their dwindling population? Yeah, well, it's a chicken or an egg situation. If you have very little going on the island, and everybody feels they have to come to Nassau or leave the country entirely to survive, it's going to be a challenge. But why is that? Why do they feel that way? Why?
Right.
Why? Why are we doing that to our country? Why are we trying to encourage almost everyone to come to New Providence? This is a problem. But is it intentional? I said it yesterday. And then we're going to make excuses, right? And there are people who are going to be told this is why you can't live on these islands, because if anything happens, you need to come to Nassau. And somebody texted that yesterday, that they tried to go back. They were there for a bit, but any little thing, they had to decide to move back to Nassau. This is stupid.
So it's intentionally.
Yeah. There is an ambulance, but there are no drivers. 16 EMT trainees, only 2 pass out. Well, that is a problem, but I mean, come on.
Absolutely.
I don't know if you can use that as an excuse. It's got to be, I know they're waiting for this cohort to pass, but you can't have the ambulance parked up. Come on. There've got to be people here. Got to be people here who would be willing to take a job down there. No? Did they advertise it? Did they anything?
If it's temporary. Even if it's temporary.
Let's take some more calls. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Good morning, Mr. Strachan.
Hi, good morning.
I'm just wondering if the people in the 242, are they not tired yet of the same thing? I know I'm tired. It's just crazy what's going on in this Bahamas. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much. Appreciate it. Let's take another call. Good morning. You're on the air live.
Hey, morning, Dwight. How you doing?
Doing well. Turn on your radio for us, please, if you can.
If the lady was not of so much of importance, right? Would this have garnished so much headlines?
If what, sorry?
I have a problem with that.
Say it again.
This being up in an island,
What was the first thing you said? If what?
If the person who was put in the back of the truck, right? If there wasn't someone of importance, right, would it have garnished so much headlines?
I'm not sure what you're saying.
No, I'm saying because these things been happening in an island, This isn't the first time something like this happened. This been happening in an island.
Okay, what?
I'm trying to tell you is the island always had these types of problems.
I don't know why you're angry. What's going on here? Calm down. Importance, I'm not saying she's not important. She's not an official or anything. She's a beloved grandmother. In what importance are you talking about? Everybody's important. Yeah. What do you mean? She wasn't like an official or something? So, I think it would have made the news. Somebody would have said something. Her family members spoke out, and that went viral, as they say. But I'm not sure. Yeah, it's been happening. We acknowledge that. And that's why we're saying our politicians need to stop and do their work. Let's take another call. Good morning. You're on the air. Hi, good morning. Good morning. You're live.
Good morning. Hello.
Hi, you're live on the air.
Good morning, Dwight. Good morning to your co-host, and good morning, Bahamas.
Hi.
I'm so happy I got through to you this morning, sir. I've been trying to reach you for a while with this whole situation going on here in the Bahamas. I got from reliable source that the ambulance situation it goes way back. There is allegedly a farmer who was responsible for negotiating these ambulance, standard ship ambulance. Only some people could drive standard ship. And what's really going on now? The plan was this former minister will bring in the ambulances, and he already had drivers that he designates as a job to drive the ambulances. So the regular person couldn't drive the ambulance. That's why we have ambulances parked and people can't drive them. Mm-hmm. The other situation I want to deal with, sir, is there's something that's going on the Port-of-Ski dock where years and years ago, mailboats were able to put on the garden hose to their boats from Port-of-Ski dock and fill up from the government water supply. Now, I was told by a few captains on Port-of-Ski dock what's going on. There is a strong PLP supporter, allegedly, who has a few of those big water trucks. And what happened, first of all the water on Port-of, you could send people to investigate it, sir. There is no water on Port-of-Ski dock, public water that you can go and turn the pump on. What's going on now? This gentleman allegedly used this big truck. He has a contract to carry water somewhere, and at the same time, the mailboats now have to buy water from this man, and what he does, he fills his truck from the fire hydrant that we, the Bahamian people, pays for, and he sells it to the mailboats. So if you can, please, sir, investigate that. It came from a reliable source. I want to say before I close on this, the former Prime Minister Perry Christie was known as the emperor who has lost his clothes. But this emperor, the Prime Minister, the present Prime Minister has allowed so much to happen under his administration. He is the homeless, naked emperor. And the Bahamian people must wake up and realize how much abuse they're going to take before they get rid of this homeless, naked emperor.
Wow.
Thank you.
Okay, that's a lot. James there, we'll definitely have to look into that. Wow. This tweet, every fire engine on Abaco was donated and is operated by volunteers. Very little help is provided by the government, who still wants to collect taxes on the donated vehicles.
Okay.
Now, okay, so here's the thing, and I think that's the way it needs to go, right? But not the part about the taxes. And I think the islands of our country can be like this if we really empower the communities, real local government, where they can do this. There are people who are folks who grew up there, were born there, are living in Nassau now, living abroad, who are of great means, who can come together and to be empowered. And they need to not have an intrusive central government that will hinder their philanthropy and volunteerism. But it's not, we talked about it briefly yesterday, it's not easy to do this stuff. We heard people say they were donating during Dorian and everything went to waste or was thrown away. That's crazy. And that's when the central government is controlling. That's the nicest word I could come up with at this hour. We have to change the system to save our country. And those aren't the things that we're hearing our leaders talk about. Caller, you're on the air. Good morning. Are you there? Hi, good morning.
I haven't dealt with the attack in Doha, but I'm dealing with this current situation here in the Bahamas. Now, I have said before that no one, absolutely, the government, the country, the people of the Bahamas, most importantly, to hostage, in a hostage situation. So that situation about the standard shift ambulance, that should never happen. That situation about water, that shouldn't happen. So we have to correct the selfishness of some persons to the detriment of the people.
Okay, thank you very much. Appreciate it. A few more calls before we get back to your text on the air. Hi, good morning. Are you there? Hi, caller, we can hear you. 323-6232. 325-4316. 325-4259. Call, you're live.
Hello, you this morning.
Doing well.
I think part of the problem is I have a diehard former F&M friend, right? And now they're PLP because I guess they got a contract or they're getting paid or whatever. And they sing the praises of the government like nobody's business, right? And I remind them that the same issues you were talking against the government about are still happening now. And as far as they're concerned, they don't see it. So, and that's the problem here in this country. When persons are in opposition, they see every issue there is. But as soon as their party is in power, they don't see any issues. And it's like some things are big in politics. You see what I'm saying? And that's why.
Yeah, I hear you. That's a big problem, but and that's what they're all hoping, right? That we'll buy your loyalty with contracts. But well, anyway, let me not say what came to my head, Laverne. That wouldn't be helpful. Let's read these messages. This person says here, yes, this situation in Long Island should, let's be honest in our criticism. We've seen this government undertake massive infrastructure work through the Bahamas. I understand why your co-host would not want anyone to mention the F&M. No, you're not understanding what she meant by that. But anyway, these problems didn't happen overnight.
I think he's intentionally, or the text is intentionally misunderstood.
Yeah. Oh, boy. It didn't happen overnight, but you all expect them to be solved immediately. Nobody, no. But we expect them to be solved. You cannot be talking about it. This was going on when I was a child. You can't be talking about this was when I was a child on Cat Island, and we're still doing that problem.
Right. How long?
Unless you're 20.
How long should the time frame be
for
this? 5 years? 10 years? 15 years? 20 years? How long?
And they end by saying the F&M should carry the same amount of blame. Absolutely, we said it. Everybody, every previous minister of health, every previous prime minister, every problems in the country. All of them. All. Yeah, okay. Thanks for typing the very obvious thing that everybody has stated already. We appreciate your text. Part of the problem is a new text. Part of the problem is that politicians shouldn't have to find ambulances. That's what the ministries are for. What are you talking about? That's what local government should be for. Now, that part is right. But government inserts themselves beyond making laws in order to pander for votes. Okay, we need local government, but the islanders should make all politicians accountable and not vote for one party over and over. Because they always vote red. Red doesn't bother to do anything for them. Yellow doesn't bother pandering for votes at all. And the other parties instead of advocate from the ground. Well, there's only a couple communities like that. A couple. If you're talking specifically about Long Island.
On every island, there are Bahamians, right? I don't care where they vote. That's not of no concern to me. And if you are in local government, if you are in central government, these are your people. These are the people that you grew up with, went to school with. These are the people that you know. This is your country. We can't keep doing this.
Yeah.
This is exhausting. These conditions have existed for too long. And getting up and making these speeches, I know your pain. I grew up in your pain. Okay. My heart bleeds when I think about this. Okay.
Yeah. Well, that's like all the politicians, right? In the U.S., they'll do that too after a school shooting. But they can do something about it. But, let's pray for them. And, I feel your pain. Sure.
Like, this is exhausting for me. We say all of these things. Just get it done.
Yeah.
Just do the things that need to be done. Get it done. And I say that because I've been alive long enough to see politicians that governments in general want done, that they want to push through, pushed through.
Yeah.
They are done.
Yep. Let's read these really quickly before we have to go to the news. This texter says here, the Prime Minister is talking about medical expenses being a burden on families and is the holdup of national health insurance. We have national health insurance, but you mean catastrophic, I suspect, catastrophic health care. I'm a Bahamian living in Turks and Caicos. We have NHI. I've never seen anyone raise money through cookouts or bake sales for medical expenses. Even for cancer care patients, you're covered. Why is there such a hang-up in the Bahamas? Well, the answer is simple. It's money, and the money's going to have to come out of Bahamian people's salaries, and that's going to be, sadly, a tough sell, right? We've talked about this for many years. Do you want more money taken out of your salary? Some of us get it, but some will say they can't afford it. So that's the answer there. We'll get back to the rest of these messages after the news. This is Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. Stay with us.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. Streaming on GuardianTalkRadio.com. Radio app. Nassau, Bahamas.
Welcome back to Morning Blend here on Guardian Radio 96.9. We are streaming live on GuardianTalkRadio.com and on the Guardian Radio app for smart devices. We're also on your televisions on Cable Bahamas Channel 969 and BTC Flow Channel 612. You can tweet us at Morning Blend 969 or Facebook.com/Morning Blend 969. Text us 4224796. And now at 8:26, it's time for another check of your weather for today, brought to you by Sherwin-Williams. So we've got prefrontal troughing and tropical moisture ahead of a slow-moving frontal boundary near South Florida. That's going to trigger pockets of showers and thunderstorms across the northern and parts of the northwest Bahamas today through tonight. Elsewhere, weak high pressure and strong daytime heating will support the typical summertime weather pattern here with light to gentle winds and afternoon thunderstorms possible. So that frontal boundary is going to enter the northern Bahamas by Friday as a weak cold front and gradually stall across the northwest Bahamas by Saturday. And that's going to bring an even more elevated chance for showers and thunderstorms and cloudy conditions throughout the weekend. That's going to extend into the central Bahamas as well. And so some of these storms could be strong to severe, especially across the northern and northwest Bahamas, and they do have the potential to produce strong gusty winds, heavy downpours, frequent lightning, and possible waterspout or tornadic activity. Be with us straight through the weekend. We also have to deal with the heat index and the UV index. The heat index expected to be in the triple digits and the UV index in the high to extreme range. And there is a moderate risk of rip currents along northern and eastern shorelines. And the tidal flooding risk remains elevated as well. So for today, for the extreme northern islands, look for a mix of sun and clouds, becoming partly cloudy tonight with a 30 to 50% chance of isolated to widely scattered showers and isolated thunderstorms. For the rest of the country, partly sunny with a few cloudy intervals, especially for the northwest Bahamas, becoming partly cloudy tonight for the northwestern islands, but fair tonight for the central and southeast Bahamas. About a 20 to 30% chance of showers and thunderstorms for the northwest Bahamas, including New Providence, and a 10 to 20% chance for the central and southeast islands. High temperatures today, highs around 92 Fahrenheit, 33 Celsius, but the heat index will make you feel like it's 106 Fahrenheit, 41 Celsius. Overnight lows tonight getting down about 81, 82 Fahrenheit, 28 Celsius. In your extended outlook, for Friday, mostly cloudy for the northern and northwest Bahamas, partly sunny during the day, mostly fair at night for the rest of the country, and a 40 to 50% chance of widely scattered showers and isolated thunderstorms Friday for the northern and northwest Bahamas. By Saturday and Sunday, partly cloudy to cloudy for the northern, northwest, and central Bahamas, partly sunny for the southeastern islands, and still a 20 to 40% chance of showers with thunderstorms for most of the country. Better conditions for the southeastern islands. By the start of the new work week, partly sunny during the day, becoming fair at night with only about a 20% chance of isolated showers or thunderstorms. The tropics, we've got a tropical wave forecast to emerge offshore of West Africa in a couple of days. Environmental conditions could support some slow development of the system over the weekend and into early next week as that wave moves west-northwest at about 15 miles per hour over the eastern and central tropical Atlantic. Formation chance through 7 days is still low, though, at 30%. And elsewhere, tropical cyclone formation not expected during the next 7 days. That's your Morning Blend weather check, brought to you by Sherwin-Williams. Sherwin-Williams, if you're ready to refresh your space, head to your local Sherwin-Williams for premium paint, pro tips, and everyday deals that make it easy to get started. Check of traffic brought to you by RBC. With RBC, your ideas happen here. In your real-time traffic, got your hot spots. We've got the six-legged roundabout seeing issues in multiple directions, northbound and southbound as you approach the roundabout, and eastbound on John F. Kennedy Drive as well. Keep that in mind if you're in that part of the island. A bit north, on West Bay Street, some slow-moving eastbound traffic along West Bay Street towards the roundabout with Saunders Beach there and New Providence Highway. Over a Mile Butler Highway, slow-moving northbound traffic for you, and traffic backed up a bit westbound on Tawny Williams-Darling Highway as well. Then over to Blue Hill Road, you're going to be seeing some slow-moving traffic near Carmichael Road, both directions. Things look better as you get closer to Independence Drive, though, at this hour. And Robinson Road is a hot spot for you. Heavy traffic from the Old Trail intersection straight up to Marathon Road if you're heading westbound. Pockets along Prince Charles Drive and the major into the schools near St. Anne's looking busy for you, especially northbound at this hour. It's your real-time traffic and your Morning Blend traffic alert. Also brought to you by NUA Insurance Agents and Brokers. Whether you're on the road or planning your next move, they've got you covered. Visit NUAinsurance.com for an instant motor quote or stop by your nearest branch today.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. Streaming on GuardianTalkRadio.com and the Guardian Radio app, Nassau, Bahamas.
Decades, right, Laverne? Welcome back to Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. Talking about the same thing for decades. Boy, oh boy. We are back with Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. Dwight Strachan along with Laverne Gardner. Coming up in a few minutes, though, we're going to be talking with the Water and Sewage Corporation about their meter campaign. This will hopefully put an end to some of these landlord and tenant disputes. We're going to get in, well, some, right? We'll get into that. And later, controversial topic, abortions in the Bahamas. We're going to be talking about this in light of that dismissal of a case against a doctor who was accused of performing an abortion on a teenage rape victim. We'll get into that. A whole lot more to come, too, on this Thursday morning here. But really quickly, want to get through the last of those text messages on what we've been talking about so far this morning. The Prime Minister and the Minister of Health saying that they're going to send ambulances and EMTs to the Family Islands. They're working on that. And I'm all very disturbed by what we were discussing yesterday about that woman who had to be transported on the back of a flatbed truck to get to the airport to be airlifted out of Long Island. Wow. All right, so here's a text. Laverne's person says here, can we at least reprimand and hold the persons on the ground accountable? The doctor said he couldn't visit, he couldn't go to the house, and the keys for the ambulance were misplaced. Has anyone been suspended? Well, I mean, is it at the ground level you want to suspend or at the top? Because, I mean, I think these problems are bigger than them. The doctor probably couldn't leave. I mean, he might be the only doctor at the clinic. If you go on a house call and somebody else comes in, I mean, this could be chaos, right? And I see people texting about people having to travel in private vehicles here in New Providence, but it's not the same. They got in their private vehicle to get to this. Can't put you in the ambulance to take you to the airport to airlift you out. That's crazy. No one's going to get to the hospital here and be told, get back in your car to go to the airport. No. So it's not the same. And Laverne, a lot of people are talking about this, that plenty of people don't know how to drive stick shift anymore. You know, that doesn't take a 4-year college degree to learn that, right?
Program.
No.
It isn't a degree program. You can learn.
You can learn that in hours.
Absolutely learn.
Hours. So that's the terrible excuse as well. Just remember now that it went for the first 30 to 50 years of the automobile, all of these were stick shift. The automatics came much later. And every illiterate dingbat was driving a stick shift. It ain't that hard. I can't drive it, but it ain't that hard. If I took the chance to really learn it, you could do it. So let's not make that excuse. That's crazy. My mom was telling me the test in a stick shift car.
Okay.
Isn't that wild? Can you imagine? But yeah.
Can you drive stick?
No, that's what I'm saying. I've tried. All you hear is the grinding gears thing. That's not cool. But if you sat down and said, I'm going to learn this today, you'd learn it.
So why didn't you sit down and learn
I mean,
it?
what am I going to drive? Stick. Where's the stick? What are you talking about? But anyway, it's called standard shift because that was standard. You had to opt for an optional and pay extra for it. And that's why we call it standard shift. But that's a terrible excuse. Don't use that excuse. I could see in the future people saying, oh, the instructions on how to cure the disease were in a book, but nobody reads books anymore. Oh, so we couldn't do it. We only watch videos. This is a terrible excuse. Please, stop. But anyway, let's take this call and then we'll get to the rest of your messages. Good morning. You're on the air.
Brother Strachan, how are you?
Doing well. Good morning.
I'm your host for today. I choose by choice not to call you on this thing in Long Island. But I think I am now being pushed to. Right? I want to say Long Island, I always call places like Long Island are parts of Abaco, Spanish Wells, some of the most productive islands in the Bahamas. Some of the most islands where very seldom they depend on government for anything. And this situation with this ambulance thing, they don't have one ambulance, they have two. They were given an ambulance by Alive in 2020. They were given an ambulance by the Bahamas government in 2024. I'm hearing this thing about the keys for the ambulance can't be fine. The ambulance is an emergency vehicle. Any little jokey vehicles have 2 keys. Both of the keys for the boat ambulance cannot be found in 2025. I mean, let us look at it real. Let us not play no games with it. We're talking about lives now. Any
I don't know if they're lost.
Vehicle.
I'm not sure if they were lost. They just didn't have the keys at that time. That's
okay. Couldn't be found. Let me
They
rephrase.
couldn't locate the keys.
Couldn't be found. Couldn't locate them. But any emergency vehicle can be operated by any police officer, school teacher. We talking about emergency vehicle. We talking about emergency time now. This is hurricane season. This is an emergency season. Okay? Now, the reasons why the doctor couldn't be carried to the house, that's another thing. Okay? But what I am saying is that we're talking emergency. We're talking a person, parent, a mother. It could have been a father, but we're talking parents. When it comes to my parent, I don't care how emergency it is. I need my parent removed from home to the clinic, from the clinic to the hospital. I heard you said something about the car. You can't tell me nothing. The same person who drove the truck to the airport, that could have driven the ambulance to the airport if they could have found the key.
Well, he was the one asking for the keys. But yeah, I mean, there might be reasons why you don't want him to drive the ambulance. Because
Trust me.
But I understand what you're saying. Yeah.
In the case of emergency, I ain't worrying about who drives the ambulance.
Well,
I'm worrying about that person getting to the airport. We can deal with that another day.
Well.
If I'm in Nassau, but I'm now legally blind, but during my time of staying, if I see a police officer, let's just say, in a car by himself with a fit, having a fit, and me and somebody is driving, I can't drive that police car to the airport because it's an emergency vehicle, and I'm trying to help an officer serve. I'm just using their life. Let's make sense at some point with it, man.
Well, God forbid if you were to get into an accident that caused somebody else's life or caused them to be injured, I think there'd be a whole lot of people in trouble.
Okay, I understand it. You use the word if. If I had the parts that my wife had, I would have been the mother. She would have been the daddy if she had the parts I had.
No.
That's it. That's not why they are part of
No,
it.
you
now.
have to. You have to. Because
Yeah, but what I'm
you
saying-
don't normally drive in a manner of somebody who's operating an emergency vehicle. And so you might not know how to react if a crazy car, one of these rental hatchbacks, comes flying at you out of nowhere.
But I'll deal with that later.
No, you can't deal with that later. But in any event, we have no excuse to say we can't find a driver or train people.
People talking about driving standard shift. 95% of the jitney buses on the road are standard shift. Grab one bus drivers and let them drive the ambulance.
Oh, Lord. Okay. But yes, you're right. There are too many excuses in this story, and that's unfortunate. We'll see if anything changes, though. All right, so we got only a few more minutes. Let me read these messages, and we got to move on. It's all true about the ambulance situation in Long Island. There are 2 ambulances on the island. There are no drivers or EMTs. The majority of people have to be transported by private vehicles to the clinic or airport for emergency airlifts. Yeah. Long Island, the ambulance on Long Island doesn't have the bed. What? It's just really a bus. You can check it out yourself. Also, there is a morgue, but the morgue is not set up yet, and it's in. Okay. Obviously, lots of issues. Can't understand your text, but I get some of the points. As someone who grew up on a quay with a doctor and a nurse living on a quay, the elephant in the room is what happens to the funds that are paid to those individuals, because there is no text messages. These aren't really sentences, folks. Ask the texter why. No, I don't know what that is. Change will happen when we start saying I will and do it instead of they should. Community development is what is needed. Same problem, different day. These islands need real local government, but again, the island people are too simple. Whoa, they wouldn't fight for it, so they will suffer. Okay, I don't think there's some people here in the capital who are fighting to control every single part of the Bahamas. And it's not about them not fighting for it. It's just what they're fighting against. And the forces being too strong. This person says the reality is that the islands can't sustain themselves with the limited resources or supplies. Some of those islands have 100 people spread all over it. Who is going to maintain these things? Well, check out 100 years ago what the populations were like on those places. Check them out. What was going on then? 50 years ago. Check it out. So this has been the systematic ding of the islands of the Bahamas. We've almost forced, Laverne, you there? Forced the population
I'm right here.
to move to New Providence. Look at where we were before independence. How many people were living on Long Island or Acklands or Crooked Island or Eleuthera and Andros? And what happened? And now you come with this nonsense about, there's only 100 people there, so why is that? Why is that?
Exactly.
Why is that? This is intentional. As I said yesterday, this is intentional. You're falling for it. With the greatest respect, Dwight, your statement before the break perpetrates more of the crackhead game narrative. If ministers can enter Parliament humbly and leave in 5 years in million-dollar homes, I didn't say that, and luxury cars and booming businesses, they can find the resources to fix health care. The money clearly exists. Oh, this is about NHI. Okay. The money clearly exists. It's just never directed to the best interests of the Bahamian people. Don't tax Bahamians more. We must demand that the same magic used for personal gain be used for national good. Okay. Demand it. Demand it. Absolutely. Hold the fleet manager's feet to the fire. He knows automatic from standard shift costs much. Okay, the costs are different. All right. And this person says, I'm a woman, and I decided to take lessons some years ago to learn how to drive standard shift. I don't know why, because plenty of women know how to drive. They all had to. Everybody had to drive them. But anyway, drive standard shift vehicles. As my husband at the time had bought one, I went on one lesson because the instructor hit me on my hand when I made a mistake. That was my first and last lesson. I learned on my own after that, and now drive a standard shift with ease. I was determined to learn. Well, very good. I'm proud of you. Maybe you could teach me.
The next time, okay?
Yeah.
Right?
Can you drive stick shift, Laverne?
Absolutely.
Oh, wow. Well, look at you. Look at you. When was the last time you drove one?
Not yet. But I can.
Yeah. Well. Good stuff.
It's not a deterrent. If there's a stick shift vehicle and I need to drive it, I can jump in and drive it.
There you go. Well, I played enough video games to think I could manage. But we'll see.
There you go.
We'll see.
But
let's hope I never have to find out, actually.
But it's like you said, even if that is the issue, it can be taught, right?
Yeah.
This isn't like a 4-year degree program and you need to meet certain prerequisites and all of that to learn how to drive a stick shift if need be.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. You really could learn that in a day.
But here's
in a matter of hours.
I think it was the previous caller made a point on an emergency vehicle. Officers on the island perhaps trained that if a situation like this arises in the thing that we don't have an EMT. At least they would be able to drive the ambulance.
Yeah.
I wonder if that can be done.
anything is possible. Will we be thinking like that
Right.
going forward? Hopefully. We will see. We will see.
In the absence of having a EMT personnel there, maybe perhaps we could give the officers additional training,
Yeah.
because I'm sure they already received some basic training in, well, it'd probably be not as basic as you or I, but in first aid or whatever, but give them some additional training so that they'll be able to at least drive the vehicle.
Yeah. We're going to keep following
And
this
render
story
some
for you
support.
folks and see where this goes. But something has to change. Absolutely. This is Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. Stay with us.
Maybe it's time to explore your options. There's no harm in reviewing your mortgage arrangement and considering a better deal. CIBC Caribbean can help you narrow your search and decide. Switch your mortgage to CIBC Caribbean and enjoy a special interest rate and help towards your switching cost. Visit CIBCFCIB.com/inspired home for more information. Conditions apply.
No one likes a fender bender.
Oh, man.
From a little scratch to a full mashup, NUA Insurance has got you covered with auto insurance tailored to fit your needs and budget. For affordable rates with free on-site accident assistance, visit us online or in branch and just ask us. NUA Insurance. Ask us because we've got you covered.
Starbucks Bahamas is the place you need to be. Taste the pride of Bohemian craft and culture in premium coffee. We're committed to some convenience and we stand on consistency. We're more than just a coffee house. Come join our community. Set the celebration with us. Uplift it every day with each cup. Coffee community craft and culture. Living your 20 years. Set the celebration with us. Starbucks Bahamas come to give you coffee community craft and culture.
In uncertain times, resilience is everything. That's why CFAL is inviting you to the financial services event of the year, the 2025 CFAL Pension and Economic Conference. It all happens Thursday, October 16th at 8 a.m. at the Grand Hyatt Baha Mar Convention Center. Under the theme Resilience in the Face of Global Uncertainty, this half-day conference is your chance to gain powerful insights on navigating today's shifting global economy. This is the premier networking and knowledge-sharing event of the year, and you cannot afford to miss it. So secure your spot today at www.cfal.com.
I've looked everywhere I can just to find a clue. How to get to you and make you want me. And I've run circles round the sun chasing after you, but it's no use. Can't you see that I'm going out of my mind, trying to find a way to get through to you? Oh, you don't know how hard I try, and I try, and I try. What do I gotta do? Do I gotta get water from the moon? Is that what I gotta do?
Water from the moon.
Yep.
Water and sewage song. No. Welcome back to Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. Dwight Strachan with Laverne Gardner. We are talking with the Water and Sewage Corporation. They've got a new meter campaign, and here to tell us all about this, we are very pleased to welcome Manager of Customer Relations, Alexandria Forbes. What did I say? Alexandria. No, I said Alexandria. Yeah. Manager of Revenue Enhancement Unit, Dale Brennan, and Head of Public Affairs and Marketing, Nicolette Eldon. Great to see you all again.
Thank you for having us. Good morning.
Good morning.
So this is an interesting campaign. You're saying that this could help alleviate some of the tension that you see between landlords and tenants. Explain the process. Explain what you're seeing and what the challenge is and why this may make a difference. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so let's say you are a landlord and you have a triplex, 3 units, but only 1 meter. Every quarter you have a water bill, right? And let's say it's about $300 or more. Now you have 3 tenants, but not quite sure who's using more water. Some persons may take longer showers, other persons are using the washer daily, just not conserving the water. And so you as a landlord now have to take on the full brunt of the bill. And so we're trying to promote fairness amongst our landlords and tenants as well by separating the meter. Yeah. Just how BPL separates the meter, I don't know if persons are aware that water and sewage also can do that.
Okay.
So now you can imagine now as a landlord, you can separate each unit. With this campaign, you get $250 each additional meter.
Okay, great. That's $250 off?
Each additional meter.
Okay, all right. So how big a problem has it been? You've been getting a lot of complaints from landlords, from tenants as well?
Well, there has been some complaints in terms of being able to identify who is using more. And also, as a landlord, you would want to ensure that everybody is conserving water as well. And so if they are able to access their bills and able to identify that they're using more, you would find that they would conserve more.
Yeah. How complex a process is it to add these meters on?
Well, Miss Forbes is here, and she'll be able to tell you how the process is.
Alexandria
Hello,
Forbes.
good morning.
Good
How
morning.
are you?
Doing well.
Excellent. So yes, the process is very simple, very easy, and we are here to walk you through it every step of the way. Now, definitely, first of all, you have to complete our new connection application form, and along with proof of ownership, which could be in the form of a conveyance or your land papers. Now, I just want to put a little disclaimer. Please note that whoever name is on the proof of ownership have to complete the application form as well. And we'll also need copies of your passport and NIB card or your driver's licenses and your NIB card. And we also accept proof of ownership if you have a mortgage from that particular institution stating that you are the owner of the property. Once you would have applied for the connection, we of course complete our field inspection. We go to the property, ensure everything is in place, and then we'll call you to come in to pay for the connection. Once the payment has been received, we'll be happy to go to your property and install the respective meters that you would have paid for. Also, once that's done, your plumber is responsible for ensuring that every line from your unit is connected to the respective meter and to advise you which meter is tied into which unit to definitely avoid any confusion. So when your tenant comes in to complete the landlord-tenant process, we don't put the wrong account in the wrong tenant's name.
Right.
And also, to piggyback off my colleague, Mrs. Brennan, the other reason too why it's so important for landlords to have multiple meters is because sometimes, unfortunately, the landlord may encounter a leak at their property. It's very difficult to state which meter has a leak if you only have, which unit has a leak if you only have alleviates that problem, because then, like she said, the consumption, you'll be able to see which consumption is the highest based on that particular meter.
Yeah, no, it sounds like a win-win.
Yes, it definitely is.
But generally, how long does it take? I mean, could you get all this done in a day, 2 days, or?
Well, the good thing is for our existing customers who we do value, because you already have a meter with us, you'll be able to pay for the connection when you apply. Now, if you are a very fairly new customer where you have never had an established account with us before, it would fall into our standard time frame, which is 5 to 7 working days to process the meter, because we have to go to the property to ensure we can provide the service. And then sometimes too, you have situations where, because of where that particular property is located, there's no infrastructure. And of course, we're in the business of wanting to, give you the service. So it goes to another department that has to do now their assessment to see if it's feasible.
Right.
Now, once the meter has been paid for on both sides, then it takes about 10 to 30 working days, but that's because approvals are required.
Okay.
And then if customers live in areas that has underground utilities, we have to get markings from other companies before we're able to complete the installation. But we will do our endeavor best to shorten the time frame as much as possible. Yes, sir.
Right. 10 to 30 days. Well, okay, that's reasonable. That's reasonable. What else do people need to keep in mind if they are hearing this and want to proceed with this right now?
They can call us. Our call center. They can come in and inquire as well. We're always available to, especially with a call with our call center. So our call center contact is 302-5599, as well as coming into the office, customer service as well.
Right. All right. So you're saying $250 off each new connection. So what is the cost in total normally? What is it?
Well, the cost varies depending on how many bathrooms it is in the establishment, but also that's a question from his customer service.
Sure. Okay. So just so you know, I would encourage everyone to take advantage of this campaign. This is like a win-win for everyone involved, because at the end of the day, you're looking at paying $415 for that meter if you have one bathroom in the unit. Normally, our connections are $668, so come on, $250 off, you can't beat this deal, so please come in. Now, in reference to if your unit has 2 bathrooms or more, then you're looking at about $485, which is normally $775, so please come in and take advantage of this deal. If it was me, I'd do it.
So does a half bath count as a bathroom in this case?
Yes, it does.
Okay.
Yes.
Wow. All right. So that is a good deal there. So how is it a special promotion? Is it a limited time, or what can you tell us about
Yes, don't wait. Come in today, 30th.
that? Okay. All right. What's the response been like so far?
Well, we just started this week.
Okay.
And so this is our first talk show, so hopefully
All right.
everyone's listening and they'll come in.
Okay. Great stuff. Laverne, did I hear you say something there? Okay, all right. So what else? I know
No,
this.
I was
there you go.
sorry.
Mhm.
Good morning. I was just really trying to understand the process, because I think it's a little different over here. So my question was, like, when you're building
Laverne's in Grand Bahama.
initially,
Right. Mhm.
my thought process was you would just have to get separate meters if you have an apartment or a duplex or a triplex. Like, I thought that was mandatory.
No, not
But
yet.
apparently, no. You don't necessarily have to.
You don't. It's not mandatory.
Would that make your life easier if it were? Would that be better for you all, or does it? Which one would you prefer?
I would prefer everybody getting their own separate meters.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's what everyone would prefer,
Mhm.
because now you're able to know exactly who's using what, and in the event of a leak,
Right.
like she said, you'll be able to identify exactly which unit has a leak.
Yeah. Yeah, that sounds like it will solve a lot of issues. Definitely. All right, so we got a text here. Somebody says, well, my business has multiple accounts, and Ms. Forbes is always clear, efficient, and professional. She needs to be customer service manager for the entire Bahamas.
Yes,
Okay. WSC needs to train all the other government corporations.
Love it.
No, we're not throwing shade at any of our
boy.
sister utility companies. We're not going to do that today.
Oh, man.
But we appreciate the
Wow.
support and the good,
All right,
the
so-
best wishes.
So this is a little bit different from what we're talking about, but this person says here, and we've done shows on this before, but it would ring, but not necessarily, right? This is
Absolutely
safe,
not.
portable. But pull that mic down a little bit.
Okay,
Glenn.
so our water meets World Health Organization standards, and our water is tested regularly through our water quality lab. So sometimes you may pass Prospect Ridge and wonder what that building is. We have a team of experts where we test our water, like I said, regularly. So the water is safe to drink. It's potable water. And yes, that you are able to consume that water.
Right, and you could save a lot of money. Alexandria, you want to add to that?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yes. So as Ms. Eldon is stating, it is very correct. And unbeknown to the public, you do have some water depots who actually sells our water.
Oh, really?
Yes, they do.
Wait, what brand do? What do they say?
I'm not gonna call any names, but they do. So definitely, the water is safe to drink.
Wait. Okay, well, explain what you mean. Are they passing it off as something else, or?
Well, they are our customers, so
Okay.
they're actually paying to use the water, but they're selling it to the public. So the water is safe to drink. The water is very safe to drink.
It sounds like, well, I could just get it out of my tap though. I mean,
the public
You can.
has been drinking it and don't
Exactly.
even
Know
know.
it.
That's okay.
wait, isn't that a problem?
It's not.
No,
not at all.
I mean, why are you? Why am I buying it when I'm already paying for it at home?
I mean, I'm not sure we want to get into that discussion.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Sorry.
That's our problem, Dwight. We want to have it in a bottle and say, well, I only drink bottled water.
Oh,
Right?
yeah.
But think about it. Even from the perspective of when we purchase water from outside, off island, you go away and you bring in water from whatever the company. I won't call any company's name.
Right.
We don't really know. We don't really
don't
know,
know.
Dwight,
Yeah.
what they're doing, how their water is being processed, if they really are getting it from the Himalayan mountains or they getting it from
Or
a
the
hole.
springs.
Right.
Remember,
Right,
they-
or all
they,
these
they sell
springs or
spring water.
whatever.
I've always wondered, right? After all the number of millions of people buying this product, how are these springs still producing water, right? I mean, shouldn't they run out by now? I guess that's not how nature
Yeah.
works.
This is definitely another
That's another show.
conversation, and I mean, we
Yeah,
can
we
get deeper
totally
into
digress.
it, but I think we just open a can of worms when we do that. But
Bottom line is
the
safe to
bottom
drink.
line is the water is
Yeah.
very safe to drink.
Yeah.
To drink. And getting individual meters.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Let's go back to what we were
Right.
really talking about, the importance of getting your own meter, and then that way you don't have to worry about these discrepancies, or if a discrepancy comes, it's easier for you to go in to query and for someone to look and check.
I think it's also a matter of protection too, right, with the landlord. So sometimes tenants, they move in, they move out, and then the tenants are left with a high bill to pay. So I think this also helps
Oh, yeah.
curtail that.
Absolutely. All right. So again, the deal is going on. You only have until the end of November, and that's going to come up quickly. Remind folks again what they need to do if they want to move on this right now.
Well, you customer service department or call Santa to get more information. You can also bring in all the documents that Ms. Voss would have listed, and it's as easy as that.
Yeah. And one more time, Alexandria Forbes, go through that list of what people need to do to get this ball rolling.
Sure, with pleasure. Okay, so you complete our new connection application form. You provide us with proof of ownership, which is the conveyance, also known as the land papers. Or if you have a mortgage, you'll get a letter addressed to Water and Sewer stating that you are the owners. And whoever is listed on the proof of ownership has to apply as well. And we'll also require copies of your passport and NIB card, or driver's license and NIB card. And that gets the ball rolling right away.
Okay. Great stuff. Keep up the great work. I know this is an anniversary year, and you've got 2 anniversary years, right? This year and next year you're going to be celebrating big, and so keep up the excellent things that you're doing there. Alexandria Forbes, Daynell Brannon, and Nicolette Eldon. Thank you again.
Thank you, Dwight.
Thank you
Thanks
for
for
having
having
us.
us.
All right. Let's break for news and be back with Morning Blend Business, a special edition of that, when we return here on Guardian Radio 96.9.
Reached high up in the sky, try to steal the star to win your heart. But even that's not enough. And I searched every book I know just to find the words. Oh, touch your world and get some love out of you. I've already given all I can give, and I don't know what's left to try, and I try.
Joan Bahamas doesn't mess about when it comes to product range and product knowledge.
If it's a new product come in the store, we walk the store
and study that product.
One thing with our boss, if a new product comes in, he takes the time and he's always keeping us up to date with product knowledge. And we just had 9 weeks of different products that we had to study, and we had exams at the end of each product.
Yeah.
The only way we could sell the product effective, we have to know that product. Yeah, that helps us to relate to our customers. It gives us better knowledge to know what product to introduce to them. You understand? So we can know what product to give them to use and what product not to give them to use. So product knowledge is really key in Sherwin-Williams.
The keys. And the key is the product knowledge that comes with our extensive product range at Sherwin-Williams Paints, Bahamas. Find color in every day.
When it comes to hearts at Cleveland Clinic, you can't miss a beat. You seek the best care possible, work with the brightest minds, and leave no stone unturned to get to the heart of the matter. Because understanding is always the first step to overcoming. For every heart in the world, see how we're advancing the future of heart care at Cleveland Clinic today.
Things may be tough, but Wendy's got you covered. Grab a day single or chicken sandwich with a junior fries and 16-ounce beverage for just $6.95. Why choose less from the other guys when you can get more? At Wendy's, we're providing bigger bites and better deals. So purchase your Tings Tough Value Meal today. Now available at port and food truck.
Don't wait for a storm to arrive. Stock up on hurricane supplies, make home repairs, purchase a generator, and more this hurricane season with a Fidelity personal loan. Make that move today. Call 356-7764.
Fidelity, we're good for you.
No one likes a fender bender.
Oh, man.
From a little scratch to a full mashup, NUA Insurance has got you covered with auto insurance tailored to fit your needs. Rates with free on-site accident assistance. Visit us online or in branch and just ask us. NUA Insurance. Ask us because we've got you covered.
Are you searching for something new? Something exciting? Your dream job in paradise? Well, look no further. Royal Beach Club Paradise Island is hiring. Join a dynamic group of passionate hospitality professionals, craft unforgettable moments, and thrive in a vibrant, welcoming atmosphere. Play your part in shaping the future of our team while growing your own career every day. Bring your energy, your passion, and your creativity to a workplace that's as dynamic and fun as you are. At Royal Beach Club Paradise Island, the opportunities don't just exist. They're limitless. So are you ready to find your perfect fit? Visit Royal Beach Club at paradiseisland.com/career today and step into a world of possibilities.
Southwest Plaza has so many stores, I've been trying to find a sensible way to list them all. There's CBS Bahamas, the Ashai Institute, BENC Snack World, Bamboo Shack Bahamas, there, the Athlete's Foot and BTC, Games and More, John Bull Fine Threads, Alive Bahari, Dairy Queen, 700 Wines and Spirits, Sandy's Clarkson Island Lock, Starbucks and Lowe's Pharmacy, plus Marco's Pizza and Lorraine. Southwest Plaza, what a wide array of stores. Southwest Plaza, stop by today and explore.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, streaming on GuardianTalkRadio.com and the Guardian Radio app, Nassau, Bahamas. The views and opinions of the hosts and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the views of the management and staff of Guardian Radio.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day.
Good morning and welcome to Morning Blend Business on this Thursday, September 11th, 2025. Welcome back to our Morning Blend listeners. Once again, I'm Dwight Strachan. Laverne Gardner had to leave us. We'll talk with her again next week. It's a special edition of the show today. We are getting deeper into this. We only had a brief time to talk about it earlier in the week. But this interesting dismissal of a case against a doctor who was accused of performing an abortion on a teenage rape victim. And that matter thrown out of, the case thrown out. But still lots of questions about these types of cases, especially when rape is suspected, our rules around abortion. Equality Bahamas has condemned the decision to prosecute the gynecologist in the first place. And we're very happy to have with us from Equality Bahamas, Alicia Wallace. Good morning.
Here.
Okay, so now we're going to try to leave the politics out of this. So I hope we can. I hope we can. I hope our listeners can, because there were political implications about this, who the doctor was, and it was very curious because I don't know. Maybe you know, Alicia, whether we've ever tried to prosecute a doctor for abortions in the Bahamas.
I don't know.
Have we ever?
I don't think we have.
So this was odd, and just so if, in case you don't know, the doctor was the son of former Prime Minister Chief Minnis, and this matter came up just maybe a year or two after the last general election. So that was always strange. But let's take that out of this. Is this where we want to go as a country when it comes to, especially in cases of rape? Should this even be should we even be doing this at all? So, Alicia, let's get your perception of this whole case in the first place, and what's happened over the past few days.
That the case came up was obviously very disturbing to us at Equality Bahamas, and we know that it starts with the law. We've been talking about the law for a few years now, calling for decriminalization of abortion in all cases. Of course, there's pushback on that, but generally people should be able to agree that abortion should be decriminalized in cases of rape and incest. And this case in particular, we're talking about a minor. This is a child under the age of 16 who was raped, has no ability to legally consent. And to expect a child to carry a pregnancy to term under any circumstances is absurd and it's inhumane. So her family stepping up to assist her and finding a doctor, which is actually quite to help you to terminate a pregnancy, going through all these steps. And then
is it though?
It definitely can be on a family island, which is where this took place.
Right.
I'm sure that was not easy. It's difficult, first of all, to know that you can ask a doctor safely.
Right.
That's the first step. And what this case has actually made doctors more reluctant. When you start charging doctors, how are they going to continue to provide a service that we know is available but not necessarily accessible and can't be advertised on doors and in brochures?
Right.
So we're creating a dangerous environment for
So
women.
as the law stands now, abortions are only permissible if the mother's life is in danger. Is that right?
The life of the mother.
Yeah.
Right.
And not whether they're either. No.
No, it's very, very restricted. And again, the law gets applied in a very uneven way.
Yeah.
And it really depends on doctors whether they're going to report something or not. So, I mean, we all know people who've been able to access abortion for different reasons, and it's not always called an abortion, right? It goes by other names, and sometimes it's medically necessary. Many times it's medically necessary.
Yeah. All right. So, what should we make of the fact that this got this far? And as we heard from, again, Dr. Minnis, the father, was saying that this was a lot mentally on his son, a doctor, and in terms of legal costs and just a very trying time, that it made it this far before, I guess,
before being
dropped.
Yeah.
Fine, let's put it like that. But
it raises so many questions, and it's difficult to follow cases, right? Especially if we're not getting news reports, we don't know what is happening behind the scenes. So we don't know if somebody decided, hey, this is a law, but it shouldn't be the law, or we're looking at the circumstances within this case, and it's understandable that such and such would have taken place.
Yeah.
We don't know. We don't have enough details to say what has happened since the charges were brought to this point now, so that there are so many questions. But in addition to the questions, or maybe even more important than the questions, are some of the solutions that we need to be implementing, and we do need to deal with this. I mean, it's in a penal code. This is ancient. It is not responsive to the needs that we have today, and many countries have moved beyond this point. We know that so many of our laws are a result of colonization and us being told what to do, and at a time when it was the role, quote unquote, of Black people in particular to produce labor.
Yeah.
Right? So there are, quote unquote, reasons why people would be forced or have been forced generation after generation to give birth and to not have control over our bodies. And we're in a place now where we have a better understanding of bodily autonomy. We're not where we need to be, but we're getting closer to understanding that we do own our bodies. We should have control of our bodies and be able to make decisions for ourselves. And it's time to change these laws. And we've seen countries in the region able to do that. Barbados did it in the 80s. Guyana did it in the 90s. And here we are, 2025, still having conversations about women's rights to
So when we talked about this earlier in the week, just very briefly, we didn't have much time, it came up that why abortion? There's so many other things that could be done, that she could give the baby up for adoption.
like an incubator. She just exists to carry around a clump of cells until it turns into something else, and we can't deal with it at an earlier stage. No, we have other options earlier that are less traumatic. Do people understand the cost of pregnancy? Even a wanted, planned pregnancy has a tremendous cost. We have been conducting research at Equality Bahamas for the past couple of years on the experiences of mothers from pregnancy through to the postpartum stage and what they're going through. And we've been following some of these mothers, and 2-3 years later, they are still having medical issues that they're having to deal with, having to see physical therapists and having surgeries to try to correct things that took place in pregnancy and in childbirth. What happens when you have to take time off work? You're forced now to take time off work.
And in this case, a child.
School.
To have to miss school.
And for everyone on the island to know, everyone has to know that you got pregnant, you were, impregnated by a rapist, and that you were forced to be pregnant and to carry a child to term, and then you're probably missing all kinds of school. Maybe you don't even feel like you can go back to that school, if any school at all. The costs are so high.
Yeah. So what does Equality Bahamas want to happen now? Do you have some demands?
We're continuing. We're continuing our advocacy for the decriminalization of abortion
across the board.
Across the board, under any circumstances. So that includes economic and social circumstances in the environment. We have to recognize that contraceptives fail sometimes. Sometimes people use contraceptives incorrectly because we're not teaching it in schools. We have people who are in unsafe situations. So maybe they want, then the relationship turn violent. Are they supposed to continue with the pregnancy under those circumstances and be trapped in a relationship, in a household, and then in a very long-term relationship with somebody who's now the father? There are so many issues that we have to look at. So we're continuing our advocacy for the decriminalization of abortion, but alongside that, continuing to call for comprehensive sexuality education in all schools at all grade levels to ensure that people do understand the contraceptive options that are available, can choose the right ones for them. And we definitely need to see the age of consent align with the age that people are able to access healthcare services and resources on their own.
Okay. All right. Let's take some calls.
Sure.
And text messages. Let's have a discussion. Let's be respectful and listen to each other's views. 323-6232. 325-4316. 325-4259. Call us toll free, 242-300-5720. Tweet us, Facebook us, text us, 296 before we get to the calls. Okay, I want to go back to one of the points you raised. If you find yourself in a relationship that goes south or sour and you happen to be pregnant, that one, I don't know if I agree or get what you're saying. Let's talk some more about that one, though. Why should that be? And you're talking about within the first trimester, or
Yes.
even
Yeah,
only
we're
during the first
generally
trimester?
talking about before the 12-week
Mhm.
period. That's when it's safest to have an abortion.
Mhm. All right. So, I mean, and you're talking about body autonomy, and if that's what you feel you want to do. But is that a good reason? I found out that my boyfriend or husband is a jerk now. Want
No,
to
no,
have
not that
a
he's a
baby
jerk,
with him.
but that he becomes abusive.
Mhm.
It becomes an abusive relationship. So now you have to navigate not only trying to keep yourself safe, but also
that you could bring a child
fetus
into a
bringing a
very
child
dangerous world.
Yes, and into a dangerous family dynamic.
There's no way to abort him. No, that's a difference. But okay, I that one I don't know about that one. But I hear you. I hear you. But if you feel that is in your safety and the child's best interest, well,
So what happens if you are in a situation where there's domestic violence and you need to leave? What is your economic situation going to be? If you have been dependent on that second income living within this household, you're going to struggle. One of the reasons that women stay in abusive relationships is because they can't afford to move out on their own.
Right.
So having another dependent added to the mix can make it even more difficult for you to be able to leave.
Yeah.
So now you're depending on that person of a child that you don't actually need to have.
I hear you. I hear you. I'm thinking of
I know,
other
not-
options.
people won't be comfortable with all
right.
of the reasons,
Yeah.
right, or all of the circumstances.
Yeah.
You might say that, okay, if it's to save her life, fine. Oh, if it's to preserve her health, fine. But I don't agree if there are fetal abnormalities. Right? You might agree if there are fetal abnormalities, and you might say, being underage doesn't quite do it for me. I think that children should be forced to carry a pregnancy to term. You know, people are going to disagree on these different circumstances and different reasons, but that we have to trust and respect the individual's ability to make the best decisions for
Right.
themselves.
How would you feel if we said, fine, to save the mother's life, to save if there are fetal abnormalities, rape, these are acceptable. Everything else,
And then we have to
no.
put incest in there.
Well, yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's under the rape umbrella, I would say, but maybe not. But sure, right? Yes, absolutely. Would that not be something?
That's a start.
That's a start.
That's a start.
Yeah.
I think it's a lot more difficult for people to wrap their minds around the economic and social conditions that
Yeah,
might
I
lead
think
someone
so.
to make these decisions. But interestingly, those same people will complain about these people who need help going to social services and seeking assistance. And they will raise hell about a mother living in a car with her 3 children, right? But you are preventing people from making decisions that would keep them.
Yeah,
We can't have it both
do.
ways.
Yeah. Okay, let's talk. On the phone lines are lit up. Let's go to the phones. Good morning, caller. You're on the air. Hi. Good morning. You're on the air. Hi, caller. We can hear you.
Hey, good morning, Dwight. I guess how you doing?
Doing well.
This is a very, very, very touchy topic we'll be having right now, right? So I'll try to be as radio appropriate as possible about it and without hurting anyone's feelings, right? First of all, I don't agree with your guess, whereas that if you have problems in the relationship or financial reasons, because that you have an abortion. One, you know your financial situation prior to having sex. So if you have sex, right, what you think can come out? A fridge, a stove, a microwave? Of course you're going to have a child. So that's not a reason for an abortion. Second thing I want to tell your guests, right? You know how serious an abortion is. You realize you take the chance on not having a child again by having an abortion. A lot of females out there are now regretting having abortions because now they can't bear children. You know the consequences of an abortion? That's a very serious thing, and I don't think that you should just unhesitedly to just have an abortion just because you wish to. I think that if you decide to have an abortion, right, it should be a situation where it's rape or life-threatening, and the mother is first preference to survive other than the child. I think that's the only reason a person should be able to have an abortion. I'll hang up for you and wait for your guest response.
Okay.
Yeah, that's not an uncommon position, not surprising at all. It's a myth that having an abortion prevents you from having children in the future. Okay, there are many reasons that people might have complications.
Go to a back room.
If you have an unsafe abortion,
yeah.
definitely that can reduce your chances, right? And when we criminalize abortion, we're pushing people to the unsafe methods. We want to make abortion safe. We want to ensure that people have control over their fertility, over their reproductive systems, over their reproduction. And providing access to abortion, providing access to a full spectrum of healthcare is a part of that. It ensures that, it guarantees that. Now, to the point about finances, you know how much money you have, whatever, before you have sex. Well, number one, every time you have sex, you're not trying to have a child. There are unintended pregnancies, however you feel about it. You could feel like, well, these people should not be using the withdrawal method, or they should be doubling up on using a condom and using whatever ideas you have. There are unintended pregnancies. Do you really want to force everyone with an unplanned, unintended pregnancy to carry it to term, no matter what their financial capacity is to take care of the situation? Is that really what we want? I know a lot of people will say yes. It means then that the state has to step up. It means that we as taxpayers have to step up and pay up to support all of these families that are growing when they're not prepared for it.
Okay, let's take another call. Good morning, you're on the air.
Good morning, Dwight. Good morning, Laverne, and good morning to your guest.
Good morning.
You know, I wanted to ask a question. The laws that were passed concerning abortion, I'm not trying to be sexist, but is it the majority male or is it the majority female that came up with that?
That came up with?
Pardon me?
That came up with what?
The law ban abortion.
Well, yeah, I don't.
No, see, I asked it because, I mean, a woman's right to choose. And I understand that there are persons who are just really out there doing whatever and then things happen. But they should still have the choice to choose whether or not, because like you say, they know their financial situation and in some cases other reasons why they may not want to have the child. But I know, like you say, protection is all only 99%, none is 100%. But at the end of the day, I feel like my body, my choice, because even if I bring this child or was forced to bring this child to term, and then I can't afford to maintain the child after a while, who can help me with it?
Right, you're on your own.
Thank you. I'm on my own. So, and even if they help me the first year or two, I'm still left with 18 years to deal with it, or 21 years to deal with it by myself. So I don't think nobody should be forced to do anything that they don't want to do.
Completely agree with you, caller.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. This text here says, I wish we could hear the whole story. Why was the doctor even charged? Well, that is the great mystery. Who was the father of the child? Well, that is known. A
rapist.
He's a 24-year-old who is charged with rape now. He's accused of impregnating the teenager. So that is, we know. This person says their abortion is murder. Simple as that.
Abortion is healthcare. Simple as that.
This texter says, I'm extremely offended by your guest's petition to have abortion decriminalized in all cases. Life is valuable and should not be taken in any circumstance. Women have the ability not to get pregnant by taking a morning after pill and using condoms, the women, okay. If you want to lay down, you need to face the consequences. Some of these women walk around in skimpy outfits, oh boy, looking, and they should bear the cost for
this
their
is just
decisions.
getting worse and worse.
Oh boy.
Worse and worse. I want to know what the men are going to do when women stop having sex unless they want to have children. Maybe that should be the next campaign.
You know, he was on, at first he was, but then he just, okay. Man, let's take this call. Good morning, you're on the air.
Yeah, good morning, Dwight, and good morning to your guest. I'm pro-life, and I believe firmly that if our parents that abort us none of us would have been here to even have this discussion. But rather than just call it abortion, Dwight, this is I guess, mine for your listeners' information. Could you describe exactly what is abortion in terms of the mechanism and how it works?
Why
Maybe
do you?
we could get.
Why would
I
you
don't
want
get
that? Why would you think? Why would you want that? Why is that necessary?
Yeah, because when you say abortion, it sounds like just getting this thing rid of for fun, right? But it's a human life, and it's a defenseless heathen who can't defend themselves. And they are hoping for a responsible adult to see them through that particular, describe it, so we could get a better appreciation of what this woman is so casually advocating for.
Okay, so before she does that, so again, I know you have a daughter. The rape of a teenager, you think she should be made to have that baby if she becomes pregnant?
It's her choice, but I would prefer that the baby to be conceived and to come to fruition. I would have preferred it. Then maybe you can put it up for adoption or whatever if you can't really deal with the situation. But just to kill a defenseless baby, no, I don't support it. But and another thing, like I said, I would like for her to do it, but they do have some side effects on women. Women have intestinal problems. They have some health challenges do happen after abortion. So to say that it's not true, it's a myth. We know this. A lady was on your who called in. You heard her describe, I think it was your show or maybe one of the other shows, but she described what she's been going through after 25 years of having that abortion. So it isn't just a willy-nilly thing. And abortions for fun or just because they broke up in a relationship. A lot of people do these things for fun. They do it, but they don't.
No one is having an abortion for fun. Have you ever had an abortion?
A lot of people do it.
Let me tell you something. It's not fun for anyone. It is not a good time. An abortion is the termination of a pregnancy. It is a medical procedure. In most cases, do you want to know how an abortion happens?
Yeah.
Great. Most cases, abortion is medical, which means medication, pills are taken, sometimes by the mouth, sometimes they're inserted vaginally, and over 24, 48 hours, it begins. There are cramps, sort of like contractions, and the cells, because that's what it is, the cells that are gathered in the uterus, they are expelled from the body, kind of like a period, but more painful. And it can be flushed down the toilet. It's blood, it's little clumps of cells. There is no whole baby coming out because it's not a baby at that stage. Okay? This is happening at around sometimes up to 11 weeks. That's what happens. A surgical abortion is different and happens later on in the pregnancy, and that has to be done by a doctor. When abortion is not available, it's not accessible to people, then people go through unsafe methods. This is when we have women throwing themselves downstairs. This is when we have women trying to use wire hangers to remove the matter from their bodies. These are the options that are available to people. These are the options that people are going to use when they are desperate to no longer be pregnant and to not be forced to bring a pregnancy to term, to allow a baby to completely develop and to give birth and to be incapable of taking care of a baby, of taking care of a child, and not being able to access any public services that will support them in being able to do that.
Okay, some states in the U.S., I think it's 2. Minnesota is 1, for sure. They believe in late term 9 months up to birth, right? And in some instances, the baby survives, but it's placed on a table where the parents go back and they decide whether or not they want the baby to live or
You sure
die.
about this?
Yes, in Minnesota, for sure.
Where are you getting this from? What's your source?
This ain't nothing. This is fact. We could do the research on it, and you'll see exactly.
Text in the link.
Up to birth.
Text in the link to your source, and then we can look at it and talk about it.
It's a family issue, but my concern is this, though. if a pregnant woman's life is interrupted or if she gets murdered, irrespective of how late she is in her pregnancy, the unborn baby does not count. Life does not count in the Bahamas. So exactly what are we doing? We got abortion illegal on one end, and on the other end, if a pregnant woman dies, is murdered, they only count one life. Does it make sense?
It doesn't. That's why we should decriminalize abortion.
Okay, thank you very much. Appreciate it. And I believe in those cases, as you mentioned before, if it's that late, it's to save the mother's life. And that would be the sole reason why that would be allowed to happen. All right, so I do want to say, before we get to this call, the previous texter who started to talk about what women wear, but if you noticed in the text, he said he was opposed to abortion, but felt that methods like the morning after pill would be, I mean, that sounds kind of hypocritical. It's the same, isn't it the same thing?
The morning after pill is a great option, right? If you you had sex, you weren't prepared, you didn't use a condom, or you missed one of your birth control pills, something like this happens, and the morning after pill could be a good choice for you. Mm-hmm. It only works up to a certain weight of person. So there are some people for whom the morning after pill is not as effective.
Oh, really?
There's a chance that it will work, there's a chance that it won't necessarily work, and it's not really as simple as just doubling up the dose. So that's not really a complete solution to the issue. Sometimes you think that the contraception worked. You're not in a position to have the foresight to use the morning after pill.
And you don't know until a month or two later.
You don't find out until later.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, boy. Okay. Let's take this call. Good morning. You're on the air. Hi. Good morning. Are you there?
I just want to ask you a question, right? You seem to be a very intelligent lady, right? You don't think that your parents at one point in time had financial problems? You don't think that one time ago they had a fight? But the point is to you, right? Suppose there's about you. Suppose Perry Christie, mother, suppose Mr. Ingram, mother did abort him. We were not these great people. You don't know what your child can turn out to be in life. That might be the best prime minister the Bahamas ever had. That might be the best doctor the Bahamas ever had. That might be the best lawyer the Bahamas ever had. You just don't know.
So don't go yet. And again, I mentioned it earlier. This is the most controversial part of everything Alicia Wallace has said today. But other than that, if we're talking about rape, incest, what do you say in those circumstances?
No, I think in those circumstances, yes.
But what if they were about to be the best prime minister ever? What if the rapist baby was going to be the best prime minister ever? Then what?
Boy, like I say, is it tricky? Is it tricky? Is it tricky?
It's not that tricky. And guess what?
It's a very sensitive topic.
If my mother had decided to abort me, I think it would be okay. It would honestly be okay. The world that I'm living in right now, maybe I should have a conversation with her later about the choices.
Right? I go on that one.
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
Bye. Enjoy the rest of your day.
All right. Interesting question here on the text line. Should there be limits to the number of abortions a woman should be allowed to have, especially if it's paid for by the state? Many women would use abortion as a method of contraception.
Abortion is not cheap, and it's not cheap. People find the money at the end of the day because it's not as expensive as giving birth. If you check out what it costs at Princess Margaret Hospital, Worse Doctors Hospital, it's truly an investment in the future for somebody who is not capable of bringing a pregnancy to term and dealing with the life of a mother.
Should they be paid for by the state, especially if the mother's life is in danger or in a case of rape?
There should absolutely be support for all forms of healthcare that are necessary for people.
So back to the first part of the question: should there be limits?
Limits to the number
that you could have
of
like
abortions?
You already had 2 abortions in the past 5 years. No more for you. Or should we just?
We're not policing people's bodies. We should not be limiting people's access to healthcare. It's okay for you to have a disagreement about someone's supposed lifestyle, right? Or the situations of opinions that you want about that. We cannot put limits on people's access to health care.
This text, abortion is murder. Why are we the only species that does this? All animals that nature take their course. Text, I don't know if you're being serious here. Why are we the only ones that want to intervene with God's plans? Okay. Can you ask your male callers and texters how they believe their mental state would be if they were raped by a female or male?
That would be interesting.
Wow. Cells, not life, but clumps of cells. Wow. If she views life as a clump of cells, then your guest is just a clump of cells and needs to read a book. What happens? Yeah. Okay. Well,
maybe if you see an abortion, you would understand.
These men need to. How do I put this? Shut up, basically. I'm editing. They know nothing about women and their bodies. They have never been pregnant. And choice, exclamation mark. Wow. In my 48 years of life, I've discovered that children grow up to display persons like their fathers. I would never ask my daughter to bear the seed of a wicked or evil man. Bro, you sound like you are siding with this psycho of a lady. What's wrong with you people? Okay. All right. Let's take another call. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning, guys. How are you all this morning?
Doing well.
I have a problem with all the males calling in talking about abortion and kids having an abortion, right? Let me tell you. Ask the males this question. If their 14 or 15-year-old daughter was raped by a psychopath, right? Would you allow or want your child to bring that baby forward knowing that this person is someone who is not fit for society? Come on, man. I know if it was me, I would have been charged for murder, all right? So at the end of the day, a young child that was raped by somebody who is a psychopath to the point that they have to rape all these women around, they have to rape a young child. And men here calling these talk shows talking about having an abortion, the effect. Listen, we'll deal with the effect after the fact because at the end of the day, that child life is ruined regardless. Have a nice day.
Thank you very much. Appreciate the call. Another call here as we talk to Alicia Wallace with Equality Bahamas. Good morning, caller. You're live on the air.
Hey, good morning, Dwight, and good morning to your guest.
Good morning.
You know, I had to call back with the I don't know what he was running on it. You know, it's amazing. I like the gentleman that called just now, you know, because that would have been one of my questions. And the lady, you know, which one of them ever give birth? And the gentleman was talking about raping kids. It's not just kids that get raped, you know. It's also adults. It's also adults, and is a mental thing on you when that happens to you. So to deal with that and have to tote the product of that rape with you, even if you bring it to term and give it up for adoption, you know what that would do to someone's psyche? That is not fair. You understand me? And so much men have so much opinion on it. I will see the first one of them to tote a baby to term. Because I had 3 miscarriages, which is similar to abortion. I had 3 miscarriages, and that did a number on me. So I could only imagine what it would be to have an abortion. You understand me? So when one of them can open a womb and tote a child to 9 months, then you talk to me. Until then, sit small, let the women have this conversation. Find out from the men then why are they doing the nonsense they're doing to cause a woman to have to come to this for this option.
Wow.
And stop calling because you ain't a woman. Okay. You don't understand what we understand. So sit small, please.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Okay. Well, a few more calls here and a lot of text messages. Good morning, caller. You're on the air. Hi, caller. You're live. You just went there. Good morning, caller. You're on the air. Okay, call us back. 323-6232. Maybe they're listening to what she said. Stop calling.
Maybe they were like, you know what? Let me hang up this phone.
Oh, boy. Well, women, call in. 323-6232. 325-4316. 325-4259. Toll free 242-300-5720. Good morning. You are live on the air. Caller, good morning.
Hey, good morning. How you doing?
Doing well.
I think I'm listening to a lot of people talk, and like the gentleman that came on just now, and people need to realize you're talking about the effect on the woman, but not realizing that there's a child that comes into play. There's a child who
Can you turn down your radio for us, please? Turn down your radio for us.
shouldn't be punished because of what their parents did, and just because a parent might have had a negative intention or might have been a bad parent, that has no standing on how the child's going to turn out. Because a lot of us came from broken homes and we turned out very well.
I hear you. A product of rape, though. That's a little.
Products of rape turn out very well. Lots of products.
And still, we're talking about the realities of the women, the actual human beings who are carrying what are not babies yet, are zygotes, are fetuses, and at the stage of 8 weeks, organs are only just starting to develop. We are not talking about fully formed babies that can survive outside of the womb. And this constant use of the term baby, you're talking about a child. A child does not exist at the point in time that we're talking about in the pregnancy. It doesn't exist. Of fantasies about what a child might be is not a part of the equation when we're talking about a woman who's in a situation.
There's no way to unequivocally state and claim with all facts that there's no life there. There's no way to unequivocally say that.
No one said there's no life. I'm saying that's not a child and it's not a baby, and we have to be correct in our terms if we want to have the conversation.
Can you unequivocally state and guarantee that there's no life there at that stage?
That's not the argument that's being had. We're talking about the life of a person who has control of their body and within whom
without being sure
a set of cells, a fetus perhaps exists that is still forming, that does not have to fully form to be to a point where it feels anyway.
With all assurity that there's no life there, and you're willing to take that life without that surety, just because you're trying to avoid a possibly negative outcome. You're willing to carry out a guaranteedly negative outcome to avoid a possibly negative outcome.
An abortion is not a negative outcome for a person who does not want to have.
For the child growing in the womb, that is a guaranteedly negative outcome.
It's not a child growing in the womb. It's not a child yet.
So what is in the womb growing?
So let me ask you this. So again, rape. If we're looking at the issue, you think that this is not a problem, that this person should be made to carry this.
Again, the rape is a bad thing that happened. Just because one bad thing happens doesn't mean that you should carry forward a plethora of other bad things to correct the bad thing.
Such as having a baby that you don't want to have, carrying a pregnancy to term.
And lead to a positive outcome.
Carrying a pregnancy to term when you don't want to is a bad outcome of an already bad thing.
Well, a part of being an accountable adult is doing things that recognize that not everything you do
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. A rape survivor is not going to be accountable for what a rapist does to them. Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
You want to do it.
Absolutely not.
No, not in this regard.
Incorrect.
Cannot,
Goodbye.
No.
People are not okay. You know, this obsession with having a fantasy about what could be if the pregnancy is carried to term, completely disregarding the life of the person who is pregnant and who, in this case, we're talking about someone who was raped.
I don't know. That sounded like that was easy for a man to say that, right? Because you don't have to deal with it. But I think there are plenty things.
Finds it easy to say something
plenty
like
things
that.
that you would not want to happen to you, sir. And just, well, I'm an adult. I'll just have to deal with it. No. Let's see if we can squeeze these in really quickly. We're almost out of time. That went by very quickly. Good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning to you and your guests.
Hi.
Very. I'm learning a whole lot. I really love Guardian University. Listen up. I think a woman should be responsible and make a decision for her body. I don't think it's anybody else's business because that's her body. And I feel as though there's a portion in the Bible that says, be fruitful and then multiply. I take that to mean if you can't afford to have this child, maybe you should protect yourself as much as you could because you're not fruitful enough to multiply. So I think if we approach this, and of course, you can have intercourse without ejaculation and still enjoy it. And you don't risk having a child because, I've been through it. And Dwight, I firmly believe that intercourse should be for when you really want to have a child to the fullest. But if you don't want to have a child, then you protect yourself. Rape, man, what you bringing this child in the world for? To look at that and to remind you of that man who raped you? Man, that ain't going to be good for the female. So I'm really enjoying the show. And I believe that if you can't afford to have the child, don't have it. Simple as that.
Okay. All right. One final call. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
All right. Good morning, Pleasant. Good morning.
Hi.
Interesting topic. First of all, the child that was raped, if that's the topic, I fully agree that you should be, because bringing that child to abuse that child, possibly, you understand, because that's a serious situation after you were violated. So I don't think that even could compare to just abortion itself. Okay? Then to the lady that said, until a man could bear a baby, and that's not fair. Because me personally as a man, to lose my child will affect me and damage me also. You understand? Now, accountability, I could be brief. Accountability is very important. Because talking about someone raped or talking about a minor that had a child, a minor is not mature enough to even really know what they're doing. So the parents have to take some initiative in stepping in there to say, if I'm prepared to be, because this child is a child. But adults that are knowing what they're doing, you're an adult. You're quite aware that intimacy without some form of protection or contraceptive will bring this baby. So accountability is very important. So now that doctors can differ if that's a life so far, but that human uterus, whatever you want to call that, that's growing, that human being that's turning into a human being in your stomach, it's not fair. First of all, the father and the mother needs to talk about that. But from you made that decision maturely, knowing what you did to conceive that infant, you understand? Now people need to grow up, get mature, hold accountability, because now you made that child, so now you have a responsibility to take care of that child. If the father is lousy, you knew that before you laid down with him. If that baby is sick and is going to have heart trouble, and it's a slightly different, and it's also a personal decision that only the parents can actually deal with. You understand? But my biggest point is to the fathers that want to say something and to the men that want to say something, that's fine, because I have my baby in the bed. I have 3, the most beautifulest kids in the world. And I don't know what would happen to find out that woman would have taken one of their life from them. You understand? Because I work 2 jobs to make accountability, take responsibility for your actions.
Yeah.
And step up to the plate and deal with these kids accordingly.
Thank you so much. Really appreciate your call. Really appreciate you. Thank you.
Everyone who finds themselves in this position, anyone who becomes pregnant, has to be accountable in some way. And sometimes accountability means terminating the pregnancy.
Wow.
That is also accountability.
Really quick before we go, this texter, I'm not sure where you are, texter, what's going on with you, but anyway, they're saying, how many children were born in this country who were the product of rape? Why are we talking about this? This is a non-issue in the Bahamas. Okay, I don't know where you got that from, and you wouldn't want to know the answer to your question. I think it'll shock you. But they go on to say, let's talk about abortion as a choice and stop hiding behind the word rape. Can we legalize abortions for rape only with legal evidence of rape and remove the abortion on demand?
Keep wanting to put barriers. You're saying, yes, let's decriminalize it in the cases of rape, but with legal you want to make it more and more complicated for people to get access to what, at the end of the day, is healthcare. Yeah. Abortion is healthcare.
All right. Well, while we are having this discussion and discussion is healthy, we're not seeing much movement from our lawmakers. And we're still stuck in laws that are ancient, highly antiquated.
Handed down by Massa.
And I do notice that among the many things that former Prime Minister Minnis said involving his son, it wasn't about the need for reform on what we consider to be abortion or when it should be, which is very interesting. But anyway, Alicia Wallace, thank you so much for being here this morning.
Thank
really
you.
appreciate it.
Follow us, Equality
and,
Bahamas,
hey,
on Facebook and Instagram.
we need to continue to talk about these things so we can fix all the things that are not quite working the way they should be. Everybody stay tuned for On the Clock with Aaron Green coming up next.
In uncertain times, resilience is everything. That's why CFAL is inviting you to the Financial Services Event of the Year, the 2025 CFAL Pension and Economic Conference. It all happens Thursday, October 16th at 8 a.m. at the Grand Hyatt Baha Mar Convention Center. Under the theme Resilience in the Face of Global Uncertainty, this half-day conference is your chance to gain powerful insights on navigating today's shifting global economy. This is the premier networking and knowledge-sharing event of the year, and you cannot afford to miss it. So secure your spot today at www.cfal.com.
This October, Bahama invites you to indulge your senses at the Culinary and Arts Festival. Class flavors meet breathtaking creativity in the heart of the Bahamas. Join us October 22nd through 26th for an unforgettable celebration featuring culinary legends Daniel Boulud, Marcus Samuelson, Dario Cicchini, and Simeon Hall Jr., alongside a vibrant lineup of Bahamian chefs and mixologists. Explore captivating art installations, interactive workshops, and live performances, all set against the stunning backdrop of Nassau's premier luxury resort. And don't miss an electrifying live performance by global superstar Lenny Kravitz, headlining the festival's welcome party on Friday, October 24th, with a concert experience you won't forget. This is more than a festival, it's a feast for the soul. Tickets and packages are going fast. Visit bahamar.com to reserve your spot at the Culinary and Arts Mall, where taste and talent take center stage. Bahamar, life spectacular.
You try to rest, but roll with the best. For all your printing needs, there ain't no one better, no. For posters and banners, magazines and flyers, for window decals, greeting cards and newsletters. No job too big and there's no job too small. You name it, we can print it. Just give us a call. Let Print Masters bring your masterpiece to life.
Located in the Nassau Guardian Building, telephone 302-2361.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, streaming on GuardianTalkRadio.com and the Guardian Radio app, Nassau, Bahamas.